the great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Camping in the Wild. The more Steven saw Yunfan's indifferent expression, the angrier he became. There was a cold light in his eyes. Yunfan actually dared to accept the challenge. He was simply courting death. He had talked with Alvis Wolf several times and knew this guy's character very well. If there was a chance, Alvis Wolf would definitely kill Yunfan, but for some reason, seeing Yunfan's expression, he felt a little uneasy. Will Alvis Wolf lose? This is simply impossible. You have to know that Alvis Wolf's soul power has reached the critical point, and it is also a matter of time for him to break through the intermediate magician. Yunfan has just practiced for a short time. Now he has reached the primary magician, which is a matter of gratitude. In this case, I will take action. Alvis Wolf muttered the magic spell softly, and his mental power started to work, instantly communicating with the magic base in his body. Spiritual piercing. Yunfan threw a mental piercing without thinking. In an instant, Alvis Wolf felt a sharp pain in his head, and then he lost control of the magic base, and the magic element around him instantly became chaotic. Damn it. Magic backlash. Alvis Wolf had no choice but to use all his mental power to suppress the magic backlash. I didn't expect this guy to use mental piercing. Many students felt a little incredible. You know, although many students have learned this magic, few people use it because it is very different from other magics and even has an essential difference. Other elemental magic attacks by controlling magic element, while mental piercing directly uses mental power to attack. Once you encounter a mental power higher than your own, you are likely to suffer a backlash of mental power. It is a magic that hurts the enemy 1000 and hurts yourself 800. Alvis Wolf had just suppressed the backlash when he suddenly saw a dark element ball flying towards him. Alvis Wolf was hit by the dark elemental ball before he could dodge. If he hadn't been wearing magic armor, he would have lost half his life. Damn, it's too bad. But even so, Alvis Wolf's eyes went dark, and he collapsed to the ground. This duel was too fast. The students watching couldn't help but complain. What a waste. I had such high expectations for you at the beginning. Steven muttered in a depressed voice. Teacher Kangi, this magic practice is too dangerous. Dangerous? With the teachers following and protecting you, it's still dangerous? Teacher Kangi curled his lips and said unhappily, but after these 2 days of magic practice, many students have made great progress. But what I want to tell you is that training magicians is not for pampering, nor for you to compete with each other, but for you to become useful talents for the empire. But, Teacher Kangi glanced at the student who wanted to refute and said, magic practice is not a so-called assessment. I just hope that you all must take it seriously and think about how to survive instead of complaining here one by one. This world is much more complicated and cruel than you think. Time passed quickly. With the help of the seedling of the world tree in his mind, Yunfan has cultivated the life element to 5 or 6 times the level at the beginning. This is the result of his not practicing deliberately. He can't imagine what it would be like if he practiced freely. Whether it is the 3rd level magic of the dark system or the space system, he can release it very skillfully. Although the improvement of his mental power is much stronger than that of others, it has become his shortcoming compared to the cultivation of magic element. Now we have reached the outer edge of the ore of the forest. Once we go deeper, we may encounter higher level magic beasts. Although we let you come to practice, we are not asking you to die. Once you enter the inner circle, it will be very dangerous. Even Teacher Annie and I dare not go deep easily. Teacher Kangi suddenly stopped and turned to the students and said, the existence of the seedling of the world tree has greatly improved Yunfan's training time. Yunfan found that, after growing again from the seedling, he can even control the growth of surrounding plants to a certain extent. Yunfan is more and more looking forward to the world tree. Teacher, is the river in front the legendary Ansei River? A student asked, pointing to a large river not far from him. Yes, this is the Ans River. It is said that our human race is wholly level strongman. After expelling the powerful invading monsters, signed a non-aggression treaty with the king of the Orabold Forest, and this river is the dividing line. Any monster in the Orabold Forest that is above level 5 cannot easily cross this river. Except for a few monsters, there are very few that cross the border, and since the agreement was reached, we haven't had any monster massacres in the city for decades. Teacher Annie couldn't help but sigh. So you must never cross the Ants River. Once you cross it, the peace agreement can no longer guarantee your safety. So that's the case. No wonder Teacher Kangi didn't let us in. A student said thoughtfully. Yes, because of the existence of the peace agreement, the high-level magic beasts dare not act rashly. Teacher Kangi said in a deep voice, but the agreement will be invalid in 30 years. I don't know what will happen in 30 years. I hope that the strong people of the human race can still deter the magic beast kings by then. Teacher Kangi took out some tents from his space ring and distributed them to the students. Not all students are flowers in a greenhouse. Avril and her friends have experienced adventures and set up tents soon. After arranging everything properly, Yunfan practiced magic control. He leisurely gathered the magic element in his hands. Those magic element were like obedient little pets, floating flexibly at his fingertips and palms, and flying around him from time to time. Teacher Annie and Teacher Kangi noticed this, and were a little surprised. Judging from Yunfan's proficiency in controlling magic element, and having surpassed most high-level magicians, they were very curious about how Yunfan did it, and how he did it. Chapter 102, Swallowing the Sky. Teacher Annie, you have a really good vision. You actually found a student with such high talent. This time, the college competition will probably be quite a success. Teacher Kangi said with some envy. It will be difficult for him to achieve good results. Dante is the most talented person I have seen in recent years, but his foundation is much worse. It is difficult for him to stand out from the fierce competition. Teacher Annie said faintly. Why is it that Teacher Annie has no confidence in her students? This is not a question of confidence or not. Forget it. This magic practice class will allow these little guys to more clearly realize that magicians are not as beautiful as they imagined. Teacher Annie shook her head and said. At night in the Oraba forest, it is different from being in the college. It is much more dangerous here at night than during the day. Everyone must be careful and take turns to be on duty at night. Teacher Kangi saw that most of the students had already set up their tents and gathered them together and said, now the boys go to pick up some firewood and the girls set up a pot to cook dinner. Don't act alone, you still lack experience. Of course, don't go too far. After hearing what Teacher Kangi said, the students quickly took action. Yunfan naturally followed everyone else. The Oraba forest was very large, so the students naturally did not dare to go far, and just followed the river to collect firewood. As they walked, they suddenly found a stone cave not far away. Do you think there will be danger in it? Should we go in and take a look? A student looked at the stone cave and said to the others with some interest. Several students stood at the entrance of the cave and looked inside. The entrance was very large, and it could accommodate 4 or 5 people at the same time. The cave was pitch black. The feeling of darkness made people involuntarily produce an unknown fear. Coupled with the night falling, and the gloomy wind blowing, these students couldn't help but shiver and get goosebumps all over their bodies. I think we should not go in. God knows if there will be danger in it. A student said timidly. I also think it's better not to go in. It looks so gloomy and scary inside. Another student was also a little scared. God knows what's here. If we rush in like this, I'm afraid we should ask our instructors not to do it. If there are really high level magic beasts in there, we won't lose our lives. You are so cowardly. Didn't our instructor say that there will be no problem as long as we don't cross the river? I think our instructor just asked us to collect firewood, not to take risks. As everyone discussed, these students had big disagreements. Not far away, another group of students was coming to the mountain pass. A few more people came, and it seems that a nurse is among them. A student looked up and said in that direction. A nurse is the only high-level magician in the 2 classes, and can be said to be the strongest in the 2 classes. Seeing Yunfan and his team standing at the entrance of the cave hesitating, some of the new students couldn't help but sneer. Just when they were hesitating, there was a roar of wild beasts in the cave. Everyone was startled by the roar and turned pale. Now is not the time to act on impulse. Let's go back and report the situation here to the instructor. Okay, let's go quickly. The two teams of students didn't want to stay here any longer, so they turned around and wanted to leave. However, before they could walk far, the roar of the beast in the cave became stronger, and then two red lights shot out from the cave entrance. The students couldn't help but look inside. Suddenly, a giant python came out of the cave with its bloody mouth, baring its white teeth, and then chased after them, looking as if it wanted to eat everyone. Its fierce appearance was exposed, and its firm scales stood up one by one. It made a low and hoarse threatening roar, and its bloody mouth was enamel white. Damn, it's actually the third level monster swallowing Skymang. One of the students saw the identity of the giant python at a glance and exclaimed involuntarily. At this moment, many students began to tremble, with fear in their eyes. Don't panic, everyone. There are so many of us. Are we afraid of a beast like him? A nurse saw that the students had fallen into chaos, and quickly spoke to everyone. Although the sky-swallowing python is a third-level magical beast, there are so many of us, and we are naturally not vegetarians. Many students calmed down a little after Alice's reminder. They took out their magic wands, and placed defensive magic in front of themselves. A huge momentum suddenly came from the top of the students' heads and enveloped them. Some students with low psychological quality had already become weak under the shock of this momentum, and the defensive magic in front of them also turned into bubbles in an instant. The next second, the students were completely filled with fear from the bottom of their hearts. When they were in the academy, they often imagined fighting high-level monsters with high spirits. However, when they faced the monsters in reality, their bodies were not under their control at all, and their minds were blank. The next moment, a fierce wind blew in their faces and almost cut through the defensive magic. The swallowing Skymang was more flexible than other monsters. It had a flat face, and a pair of sharp knife-like fangs stabbed out of its mouth. The smell of blood spread in the air, and the red blood slowly dripped from the two fierce teeth, which fully showed the cruelty and horror of this guy. The ferocious head of the giant python was more powerful and ferocious than that of ordinary monsters, and its dark green scales were as sharp as needles in the moonlight. This sky-swallowing python stood in front of the students, its red eyes completely looking down at the delicious food that was delivered to them. Oh my god, why is it so scary? Run. I don't know which student shouted with a trembling voice, and the next second they all fled in the direction they came from like frightened birds. The more panicked they were, the more they stumbled when they ran away. Facing the bloody mouth that suddenly rushed towards them, a student next to Yunfan seemed to be scared and stood there stupidly. Run, what are you still standing there for? Yunfan quickly reached out and pulled the student next to him aside. While running away, many students had already tried to recite attack magic, and in such a tense environment, it was really difficult for them to concentrate their mental strength. Chapter 103, Kanga's mentor arrives. In the past, many students could release attack magic 100% of the time. Many students thought they no longer needed training. However, when they really faced the monsters, they found that what they had learned before was just theoretical. The magic element that were usually very obedient and seemed to be their friends were just like them, like frightened elks, and did not obey their commands at all. Yunfan took a deep breath, calmed down his mood, and silently recited the magic spell in his heart. Just when the swallowing mang was about to swallow him, a skeleton warrior with a metallic luster suddenly appeared in front of him. The swallowing mang was very surprised by the sudden appearance of the skeleton warrior, and his actions were involuntarily slowed down. The skeleton warrior didn't care about these, and the alloy bone knife in his hand chopped towards the head of the swallowing mang in an instant. It seemed that, because he felt the power of the bone knife, the swallowing mang gave up attacking Yunfan and rolled to one side of his body. Yunfan would naturally not give up this great opportunity. Almost at Yunfan's command, the alloy skeleton warrior suddenly raised his head. Blue fire flashed in his empty eyes, and the alloy bone knife was raised high again in his left hand. As the lowest level of undead creatures, the skeleton warriors had no thoughts of their own, so naturally they would not be afraid of death. The other students also stopped at this moment, calmed down and recited the magic spells again. Because there was no threat, their mental power was controlled by them again, and those magic elements returned to their arms again, and the attack magic was completed by them again. Wind arrow. Flame arrow. Attack magic of different attributes was released by these students and hit the body of the swallowing sky mang, but these attack magic did not seem to have much effect. The scales of the swallowing sky mang have a strong magic defense characteristic. The magic of our level has very limited effect on it. Several students with some experience suddenly changed their faces and said very ugly. What should we do? Are we all going to die here? Several more timid students were trembling with fear. In fact, except for Yunfan and a few students who had gone through the baptism of adventure and were able to maintain normal thinking, the other students had already panicked. I would rather be killed than eaten alive. The thought of being swallowed into the stomach, said a male student. How can that guy named Dante be so powerful? I hope he can hold out for a while longer. Let's run quickly, a student said with a pale face. If it were normal, this student would definitely be despised by others for saying such a thing, but now at the critical moment of life and death, these students wished they had another pair of legs and ran faster than others. But Dante is still there. How can we leave our classmates here? A student said hesitantly. I can't care so much. We can't help much if we stay. It's better to tell the instructor quickly and let them find a way. The other students were somewhat moved by what this student said. After hesitating for a moment, several students gritted their teeth and ran towards the instructor. You go first, I'll stay to help, a nurse said to the other students. A nurse, don't be upset. Although you are the only one among us who has reached the intermediate magician, you are facing the sky swallowing python. Several students who have a good relationship with the nurse persuaded him. You don't have to persuade me. How can I leave others to cover for me? A nurse said with an unusually serious expression. You should also leave quickly and report what happened here to the instructor. But, there is a strong magic fluctuation over there. Is there something wrong? Is it our students casting magic or? Instructor Kangi turned to the direction where Yunfan was. Instructor Annie, you arrange the others here. I will go to that direction to see if he has any problems. Without waiting for Instructor Annie to respond, Instructor Kangi cast a light wind magic on himself and disappeared without a trace in an instant. It is really very convenient to have wind magic. Many students looked at Instructor Kangi who was leaving with some envy. Each magic has its own characteristics. As long as you can play the characteristics of your own magic, you will definitely achieve extraordinary achievements. Instructor Annie comforted the other students. It's the wind element. That person seems to be Teacher Kangi. A student felt the restlessness of the wind magic element in the air, looked up and said excitedly. Several students heard the students shout and raised their heads. Then these students also became excited. The figure in the air was indeed Teacher Kangi. Tunshin Mang. Teacher Kangi, who added a flying magic, saw Tunshin Mang who was confronting Yunfan at a glance. He was stunned for a moment and said in a lost voice, how can there be such a thing in this place? But what the hell is this skeleton warrior? But he also reacted quickly. Now is not the time to think about these things. Teacher Kangi immediately took out his staff from his space and ring. The blue wind binding instantly lingered in the area where Tunshin Mang was, and Tunshin Mang was directly fixed in place. Yunfan naturally couldn't let go of this opportunity and hurriedly ordered the skeleton warrior to kill it. Feeling the powerful attack of the skeleton warrior, Cheyenne Mang struggled hard. The strong wind restraint was like a golden hoop around his body. The more he struggled, the tighter the golden hoop seemed to be. When the skeleton warrior's attack caused a large amount of blood to spurt out, the alloy bone knife directly chopped his head, leaving a bloody scar and cutting off a piece of flesh. Cheyenne Mang's body trembled violently in pain and made a hissing sound, which seemed to carry endless hatred. Good boy, your skeleton warriors are very good, with such great destructive power. Even the attacks of ordinary intermediate warriors cannot compare to it. No wonder you dare not give face to those families at such a young age. Teacher Kangi showed a strange smile on his face. Maybe you can really make a breakthrough. Teacher Kangi, now is not the time for you to express your feelings. If you don't take action again, I will let go. Yunfan looked at Teacher Kangi, who seemed to be watching the fire from the other side of the river, with some displeasure. Chapter 104, The Evolution of Cheyenne Mang. Okay, I know. Can't I just take action now? At this moment, Teacher Kangi's face suddenly changed. He felt that the swallowing sky python was escaping from his control. Damn it, how could this happen? Teacher Kangi roared angrily, and then the swallowing sky python's body suddenly surged with green light. Teacher Kangi soared into the sky from the green light, and swept the magic wand in his hand. Suddenly, another green light surged out, turning into a wind binding and sweeping towards the swallowing sky python. This time, beyond everyone's imagination, the swallowing sky python was not afraid of the wind binding at all. He roared, did not retreat but advanced, and rushed forward, and actually shattered the wind binding in an instant. Hiss. Only a burst of angry hissing was heard from the mouth of the swallowing sky python, and then its blood basin, big mouth opened, and bit towards Teacher Kangi. The saliva with strong corrosiveness suddenly exploded, almost turning into green. Countless poisonous gases rose into the air, forming a poisonous swelling that kept spinning rapidly. With a terrifying momentum, he suddenly opened his mouth and bit down. The sky swallowing mang has evolved. Teacher Kangi's face became even uglier. He never thought that the sky swallowing mang would evolve at this time. This was not a good sign. Before the sky swallowing mang evolved, he still had great confidence in getting rid of this third level monster. Now he felt a lot of pressure. Yunfan's face also became ugly at this moment. The poisonous fog had a strong corrosive effect. The alloy weapon that Yunfan specially made for the skeleton warrior had already corroded. I just don't believe this. Wind binding. Teacher Kangi quickly activated his mental power, and the wind magic element around him instantly gathered towards him. Teacher Kangi took a deep breath, and covered the body of the sky swallowing python with the power of the wind magic element he controlled. The wind binding, which was stronger than the last time, was completed by Teacher Kangi in an instant. Teacher Kangi was about to show a look of relief, but suddenly found that the sky swallowing python was only a little slower, and it was even showing that it was trying to break free again. No way, this guy just evolved once. How come his strength increased so much? Could it be? Teacher Kangi suddenly thought of a possibility, and his face became even gloomier. I hope it's not like what I think, otherwise, this time it's really troublesome. As if to verify what he imagined, the color of the sky swallowing python's originally green scales gradually faded. Damn it, it's really an evolution. The probability of this kind of evolution happening to a monster is almost zero. How could I be so unlucky today that I actually encountered it? Teacher Kangi exhaled heavily. I hope our magic can succeed this time. Then, he raised the magic wand in his hand again, gently closed his eyes and chanted, "Violent wind spirit, I call you here through the connection of my blood. Let the rhythm of the wind turn into a terror. Destroy the evil in front of you, the holy sword of wind." At the moment, when he finished the spell, a green giant sword appeared in his hand. This was a giant sword made entirely of wind magic element, but this giant sword was very unstable, as if it could collapse at any time and officially become a mess of wind and magic element. This is the 5th level wind magic wind holy sword. When did Teacher Kangi become a great magician? Several students who had not left could not help but exclaimed. Hiss. The swallowing sky mang, who had already begun to evolve, seemed to feel the threat brought to him by Teacher Kangi. He now regarded Teacher Kangi as a threat. His tail was raised high in front of Teacher Kangi, and he slapped him fiercely in front of him, as if he wanted to smash him into pieces. Boom. Fortunately, Teacher Kangi reacted very quickly, and ran to the side quickly. However, even so, a violent shock force rolled up the flying sand and rocks, and even Teacher Kangi was shocked, and flew 5 or 6 meters away. If he had not released the wind magic on his body early, I'm afraid it would be very difficult. However, even so, as a magician, Teacher Kangi's defense ability is still very low. Under the strong shock, he is still a little dizzy, and the magic element become extremely disordered. After a while, he also fell from mid-air, and fell 7 times dizzy. Teacher Kangi. Several students standing there watching hurriedly ran over, but saw that Teacher Kangi's magic robe was already full of holes, but fortunately, he himself did not suffer any major damage. Teacher Kangi was helped up by these students. He spat out blood fiercely, and then cursed. Damn it, it's really worthy of the evolution, that only appears once every 10,000 evolutions on average. This thing is simply a chicken blood. The evolved giant Mang seemed to have developed some consciousness and seemed to understand what Teacher Kangi said. Cheyenne Mang wandered towards Teacher Kangi. There was no kindness in Cheyenne Mang's eyes. Teacher Kangi was a bad guy who stopped him from eating. He wanted to swallow this guy into his stomach in one breath. Damn it, you little guys, don't stay here, leave quickly, this guy's not something you can deal with. Seeing Cheyenne Mang coming towards him, Teacher Kangi was a little anxious. As a qualified teacher, even if he sacrificed himself, he couldn't put his students in danger. This was his principle of doing things. After hearing what Teacher Kangi said, the students who came up to help him hesitated for a moment and left. Seeing that several students had already left, Instructor Kangi gritted his teeth and cast wind magic on himself again. At this critical moment, fortunately, Yunfan's skeleton warrior blocked Instructor Kangi's body and blocked the heavy blow from the swallowing heaven Mang for Instructor Kangi. Otherwise Instructor Kangi would definitely be seriously injured. Boy, I owe you a favor this time. If you encounter something you can't handle, I can help you once. Instructor Kangi promised. Instructor Kangi, now is not the time to talk about this. Yunfan said a little unhappily. Okay, let's talk about it after we solve this swallowing heaven Mang. Instructor Kangi said as he flew to the top of the swallowing heaven Mang. Chapter 105 Shadow Leap. The holy sword of wind appeared in his hand again. At this moment, the magic in Teacher Kangi's body had dimmed. This was the last blow he could make. If he failed again this time, he would completely lose the ability to attack again. Beast, taste my holy sword of wind. Teacher Kangi roared, and countless fierce winds were around him. Under the guidance of Teacher Kangi's spiritual power, these fierce winds followed the holy sword of wind and went towards the swallowing heaven Mang. This time, the wind magic element was much more fierce than other times. Each blue fierce wind could cause damage to the body of the swallowing heaven Mang. The swallowing heaven Mang finally couldn't move anymore and let out a painful hissing cry. The blood-red eyes of the swallowing heaven Mang swept towards Teacher Kangi, as if they contained endless hatred. The wind magic element around Teacher Kangi was even more fierce. For a moment, a strong wind blew, and the flying sand and rocks attacked the swallowing heaven Mang. Forget about it. Although our magic can do limited damage to the sky-swallowing python, we still have to do our best. Several students not far away chanted magic spells one by one. They didn't want to sit and wait for death. Magic of different attributes flew towards the sky-swallowing python. Perhaps because of the panic, the magic of these students hit the sky-swallowing python, but did not hit the vital parts. The sky-swallowing python didn't care about the damage at all. It was now on guard against Yunfan and Instructor Kangi. Others were insignificant in its size. I didn't expect there were so many dual attribute magic students. Yunfan was the only one who mastered multiple magics. Now it seems that this is not the case. The holy sword of wind directly broke the scales of the sky-swallowing python in the hands of Instructor Kangi and stabbed into his head. Hiss. No one thought that the sky-swallowing python would not die after being hit by a fatal blow, but became even more ferocious. Don't be afraid, there are so many of us. If everyone casts magic, we can definitely defeat it. A student shouted to everyone. Everyone, hurry up. While the swallowing heaven Mang has been severely injured by the instructor, we should kill it in one go. Another student also shouted with all his strength. Just as this declaration said, the swallowing heaven Mang was now seriously injured and had no time to worry about other things. This was undoubtedly a life-saving news for all the students, and almost all of them began to try to chant spells to release magic. Wind blade, water blade, flame blade. In a moment, almost all the students present released magic. Most of these magics belonged to the second level magic, although they were still a little bit worse for the third and fourth level monsters, because the damage of the wind holy sword of Instructor Kangi still had the effect of tearing. The attack power of these magics was greatly enhanced. Because of the attack from all directions, the swallowing heaven Mang let out a painful hiss. Everyone, work harder. Our magic is working on the swallowing heaven Mang. A student shouted loudly. The sky swallowing python is indeed the best among the third level monsters. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. No, it should be said that its attack after the evolution is incredible. Yunfan was commanding the skeleton warriors to attack, while thinking in his heart, "Kid, just be content. This sky-swallowing python is not an ordinary sky-swallowing python." Sakadan's somewhat gloating voice sounded in Yunfan's heart. "It's not an ordinary sky-swallowing python. What is it?" Yunfan couldn't help asking. "This sky-swallowing python has the blood of the Dragon Clan," Sakadan explained. "Dragon Clan? I didn't expect that there are really dragon clans in this world. I just don't know what this dragon clan looks like. Is it the same as the dragon in the Eastern mythology, or is it similar to the lizard in the Western mythology? I guess it should be similar to the lizard." Yunfan muttered in his heart. This may be the last struggle of the sky-swallowing python. It raised its long tail and swept it randomly without thinking about anything. Many students were directly knocked to the ground by this sweep. This Chun-Shian-Mang is too fierce. Even if it is struggling to death, we can't withstand it. It seems that we really overestimated ourselves before. A student smiled bitterly and climbed up from the ground with half of his body covered in blood. No less than this student was lying on the ground at this moment, losing the ability to move again, and had no strength to get up again. "Dante, I don't have any magic power anymore. It all depends on you. You must hold on for a while. Shian-Mang can't survive now." Teacher Kangi smiled bitterly. "I'll try my best." Yunfan was not sure that he could hold on to the crazy Shian-Mang for a while. Although almost all magic beasts are wild and difficult to tame, magic beasts like Shian-Mang with very strong bloodlines are more likely to go crazy after being strongly stimulated. Shian-Mang's blood was splattered everywhere, and the originally red eyes were now filled with the most terrifying fierce light. The extremely angry Shian-Mang stared at Teacher Kangi, the man who dealt him a fatal blow. At this moment, it knew that it could not survive, so it wanted to take this guy who had caused it fatal injuries to die with it. Teacher Kangi was frozen all over. He was in despair at the moment. He did not think that Yunfan could save himself under the attack of this violent swallowing python. The shadow of death loomed in his mind. This swallowing python was far more powerful than he had imagined. Damn it. Teacher Kangi almost had no strength to speak. Yunfan also felt a terrifying murderous aura. He knew that if he did not show some real skills, Teacher Kangi would really be buried in the mouth of the swallowing python. Yunfan used his mental power to command the dark magic element and space magic element to combine together, forming a strange elemental ball in his hand. Shadow jump. Yunfan instantly threw the magic ball in his hand and saw that the magic was like a ghost, flashing forward. Explode. As Yunfan fell, the body and head of the swallowing python were separated. Although the sky swallowing scales can block attacks from the outside, they can never block the power from the inside. Yunfan's shadow jump uses the space magic element to transfer the magic attack directly through the two-dimensional space to the three-dimensional space. The biggest advantage of this attack method is that if the opponent does not practice space magic, he cannot predict where the attack comes from. Dead. How did this guy die? Chapter 106 Yunfan's amazing talent. Teacher Kangi glanced at Yunfan thoughtfully. Others might not be able to see it, but for someone who has already touched the edge of a great magician, he can naturally feel the difference in Yunfan's dark magic. Dead. Everyone stared at the moment when Chun-Shian-Mang fell down. How did Chun-Shian-Mang die? They were a little overwhelmed for a moment. "I didn't expect you to be so good that you could kill the evolved Chun-Shian-Mang. Although I have already given you a high evaluation before, you still made me look at you differently this time. Your talent can be said to be the highest I have ever seen. No wonder those guys couldn't get you, and you wanted to destroy you." Teacher Kangi came back to his senses and finally locked his eyes on Yunfan. The other students present looked at Yunfan like a giant panda. They all wanted to know if the student really had 3 heads and 6 arms. However, this student of the same level as them did not look any different. He was neatly dressed, had a face that was not handsome at all, and was still a little thin. His expression showed a bit of fatigue. He was placed in a crowd and could hardly be looked at. Such an ordinary boy could actually deal with the swallowing sky python that they were afraid of. The evolved swallowing sky python was full of treasures. Yunfan and other students dealt with the body of the swallowing sky python together. On the way back, "Student Dante, how did you do it? What level of magician are you now?" Why are your skeleton warriors different from others? Many students asked with some disbelief. These students really had countless doubts and countless surprises. How could a boy of the same age as them be so much stronger than themselves? In short, it was really difficult for these students to accept this fact. A classmate of the same age as them could actually kill the swallowing sky python alone, which even a small team could not handle. Teacher Kangi, what happened to you? Teacher Annie was directing the students in the camp to pack up. Seeing Teacher Kangi was injured and was helped back, she hurried over. Teacher Annie, it's really hard to say what happened. I didn't expect that we would encounter an adult sky swallowing mang here. This time, it's thanks to Dante, otherwise I would have almost died here. Teacher Kangi said with a bitter face. A sky swallowing mang, you are really unlucky. The possibility of an evolved sky swallowing mang is so low that you can still encounter it. Teacher Annie said in surprise, but what do you mean by the last sentence? What does this have to do with Dante? The sky swallowing mang was killed by Dante. It is undeniable that my attack did cause great damage to the sky swallowing mang. Teacher Kangi said. Teacher Kangi, did you make a mistake? How long has Dante been a junior magician? I'm afraid his magic can't cause any damage to the sky swallowing mang. Teacher Annie shook her head and still couldn't believe it. Teacher Annie, not only do you not believe it, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it either. He is not just a dark magician, you know? Teacher Kangi said. Not just a dark magician. Could it be that he has mastered other magical element? It's not as simple as just mastering other magical element. Now he can release fusion magic. Although the magic he releases is still very unstable, the power of the magic is not inferior to ordinary 4th level magic. Moreover, his magic is very strange. Even if I fight him, I'm not sure I can win. I even suspect that I will be killed by him. Teacher Kangi showed a trace of dejection on his face. Teacher Annie was a little bit overwhelmed when she heard Teacher Kangi's description of Yunfan. She felt that the gods were playing a joke on her. Teacher Kangi, are you sure what you said is true? Do you know how long Dante has been learning magic? I swear in the name of the god of wind that everything I said is true. This kid is definitely a monster. Teacher Kangi sighed and swore. I really didn't expect that this kid would hide so deeply. I really don't know what secrets he has. But it's good that way. He has offended many people. He needs some strength to save his life. Teacher Annie breathed a sigh of relief and said, but I must ask him about this matter. There were actually several students with injuries on their bodies who cried in the camp. They have always lived in ivory towers and have a good family background. They have never experienced such things while learning magic comfortably in school. After the real personal experience, they found that the world is so cruel. Originally, after becoming a magician, they were destined to become a noble and be able to call the wind and rain. In school, they were all arrogant. In the end, when they really faced the Warcraft, they couldn't even release magic. If Yunfan hadn't restrained the sky swallowing python later, the consequences would be really unimaginable. Yunfan came to the camp, but suddenly felt someone walking towards him. A beautiful figure appeared in front of Yunfan. The woman had a curvy figure, which made Yunfan a little absent-minded. So beautiful. Teacher Annie. Yunfan saw the woman's face clearly. It was a face with a very Western charm. Dante, although I already know that you are very talented, I didn't expect that your talent is so high. Teacher Annie smiled. Yunfan was a little embarrassed by what Teacher Annie said and didn't know how to answer for a while. Teacher Annie turned her eyes and looked at Yunfan as if she wanted to see through him. You are now an intermediate magician? Teacher Annie said in astonishment. Sure enough, you are amazingly talented. Teacher Annie opened her mouth in surprise and looked straight at Yunfan. Yunfan felt embarrassed to be stared at and coughed and said, Teacher Annie, please don't look at me like that, okay? Now it's not just me who looks at you like that. Look around. Teacher Annie came back to her senses and found that there was something wrong with the way she looked at Yunfan. After Teacher Annie's reminder, Yunfan realized that there were other students standing not far away. Some of these students had eyes full of curiosity, and some had eyes full of envy and jealousy. Yunfan actually didn't like this kind of atmosphere, but killing the sky swallowing python had already become a fact, and he couldn't change other people's opinions of him. Chapter 107 The Legend of Maurice Swift. Dante, you are worthy of being a member of my mercenary team. You can even kill the sky-swallowing python. Not bad, not bad. At least you didn't lose my people. Princess Avel came over and said heartlessly. Teacher Annie looked at Avel, who was talking, and couldn't help laughing. She still liked this student of hers very much. Although he was a little willful when doing things, he was really kind by nature. After a short rest, the magic basin teacher Kangi's body had recovered a little, and his body was not as weak as at the beginning. Since everyone has been busy with their work, I can talk about something. Because the camp was located in the Ansei River, everyone was sitting by the river. The female students were bandaging the wounds of the male students, and some students were cleaning each other's blood. To be honest, I really didn't expect to encounter the evolved sky-swallowing python here this time. Although I didn't think it through, it also reflected from another aspect, that you really disappointed me. When facing danger, you can't even release magic. What kind of magicians are you? Teacher Kangi said deeply. These words caused an uproar among the students. After going through so many things, don't you understand why you are arranged to take the magic practice class? I told you at the beginning that the level of magician cannot fully represent your strength. Didn't you disagree at the beginning? What about now? Many students have lowered their heads in shame at this moment. How can you be like this, bastard? I must praise Dante here. If it weren't for him, I'm afraid we would all be killed by the sky-swallowing python. Teacher Kangi said. Dante, thanks to you for saving us this time. If you encounter any problems in the future, just ask me. Although the forces you offended are amazing, our family is not a pushover. Although many students are usually arrogant, they can't help but express their gratitude to Yunfan at this time. Yunfan never thought that, because of this self-rescue behavior, he gained the friendship of many nobles, and laid a foundation for his future development in the empire. However, Stephen and others who had a bad relationship with Yunfan all looked pale and ugly. He never thought that so many things would happen in a magic practice class, and Yunfan would receive so many promises. It would be even more difficult to deal with him in the future. He couldn't believe that everything that happened was true. In addition, I have good news to tell you here. Due to your outstanding performance, classmate Dante, I will coordinate with the college privately to give you a certain amount of material rewards. If possible, I will apply to the college to let you go to the college treasure house to choose a treasure. Oh my god, I really didn't expect that Professor Kangi would fight for such a good opportunity for you. Teacher Annie covered her mouth in surprise. Is there any amazing treasure hidden in the college's treasure house that can surprise Teacher Annie so much? Yunfan's face was full of questions. You have never heard of the treasury in the academy? Are you still a student in the academy? A student said in disbelief. The academy treasury was established by the first dean of the academy. At the beginning, there were many treasures and some spoils he collected. Later, each generation of deans kept this habit, and the treasures in the treasury became more and more, becoming the treasury with the most treasures in the entire empire, second only to the imperial treasury, and on par with the treasures in the other 3 academies. It is said that there was a student who made contributions to the academy and got a chance to choose treasures in the treasury. He used that opportunity to choose a very strange bead. Guess what the result was? How? A student next to the student asked curiously. Even you haven't heard of it? This student was already a little arrogant. I haven't heard of it. What's wrong? Tell me what happened quickly. If you don't tell me, I'll beat you up. Forget it. Forget it. I'm a noble magician, and won't bother with barbarians like you. When the student heard that the other party was going to beat him, he hurriedly said to himself, that bead is a divine artifact. It is something left behind after the fall of the gods. With that thing, that man eventually became a godlike powerful man. Godlike powerful man? Could the person you are talking about be Lord Maurice Swift, the patron saint of the empire? A student seemed to have thought of something, and said in disbelief. Yes, that person is a patron saint of the empire, Lord Maurice Swift, the god of fire. I never thought that the artifact, the fire god pearl, of Lord Maurice Swift, the patron saint of the empire, was actually obtained from the treasury of the academy. But no matter what, artifacts are hard to come by. It is incredible that the dean of the academy would put that thing in the treasury. If the dean of the academy knew that it was an artifact, how could he put it in the treasury? It is said that the thing was like a useless ornament at the beginning. No one knows how it was discovered by Lord Maurice Swift. Because of this artifact, Lord Maurice Swift felt that he owed our academy a lot. So when he became a god-level master, he joined the Academy Elder Council and took the position of Chief Elder. He promised that, as long as he was alive, he would protect the academy. So our Alkaline Academy is very special in the Empire. Even at its lowest point, no one came to provoke it. I never thought that there are so many secrets in the academy. Doesn't this mean that classmate Dante has a chance to get an artifact? Do you think artifacts are easy to get? Lord Maurice Swift just has better vision and luck. Who else have you heard of getting artifacts in all these years? Dante, tell me quickly, how did you kill that sky-swallowing python? You know, ordinary second level magic can't break its defense at all. Did you use some powerful magic scroll? But can you get a high level magic scroll? Avril asked questions like a cannon. Yunfan fell silent again. Your Highness, this is my secret. You are so stingy. Avril pouted. Since it's a secret, I won't ask. Although Avril was still very curious, she suppressed her curiosity when she heard Yunfan say it was a secret. Avril now regarded Yunfan as her friend, so she didn't want to force Yunfan. Thank you, Princess. Chapter 108 Fire God Pearl. Hey, have you heard that a student named Dante killed a sky-swallowing mang that evolved in the magic practice class? Don't talk nonsense. We all know how powerful the sky-swallowing mang is, not to mention the sky-swallowing mang that evolved. Even the students in the graduating class can't kill it alone. If the students in the intermediate class can accomplish it, I will kill it and eat it. A senior student in the academy, who was not short, said. Then you go and eat it now. A female student next to him glanced at the student and said suddenly, Rihanna, don't always target me, okay? The male student looked at the female student with admiration. Go and see for yourself. The academy has posted a notice. After hearing this, many students couldn't help but run to the notice board and saw that there was actually a notice posted on the notice board. The general meaning of the notice was that the freshman in the intermediate class killed a sky-swallowing mang that evolved in the magic practice class, saving the students of 2 classes, and received material rewards from the academy and a chance to enter the academy's primary treasure house to select treasures. Oh my god, this can't be true. This guy is too awesome. Even our mercenary team is not sure. Is this guy lucky? At this moment, all the old birds in the academy were dumbfounded. The student who said he wanted to eat shit looked even uglier. Oh my god, there really is an intermediate student who can kill the evolved giant mang, a monster that even they dare not think about. Soon, this news has spread throughout the academy. Except for the rookies in the elementary class, most of the students in the academy are adventurers wandering in the wild. These adventurers and mages rely on hunting monsters, but with the news coming out, all the old birds in the academy are a little embarrassed. They have all been through this stage and know what this news means. There will be a chance to enter the academy's treasure house? Several high-level students said anxiously. This kid actually got such a good opportunity. It would be great if this opportunity fell on me. Don't daydream. If you can kill the evolved giant mang now, I think the academy will consider it. Besides, opportunity and vision are directly proportional. You should have heard about Dante's origin, right? Slave servant? As a slave servant, what kind of vision can he have? What a pity. But even so, the kid has made a profit. How long have all of us been in the academy? Only a few have the opportunity to enter the treasury. By the way, the kid's identity is not fabricated, right? He is not the young master of some super large family with a lot of treasures. Otherwise how can he defeat Cheyenne Mang? Idiot. What young master? He is just an ordinary slave servant. I heard that many people in the academy have bullied him. That person is really perverted. In the classroom, Kangi handed Yunfan a crystal coin card and a primary treasure house access card and said, "This is our academy's reward for you." The crystal coin card contains 1000 crystal coins, which can be used in any large chamber of commerce, and this is the access card to the primary treasure house. With this card, you can choose a treasure in the primary treasure house. Thank you, Kangi. Don't thank me, you deserve it. If possible, I really hope that the academy can increase your reward. Kangi showed a helpless look on his face, as if he had something to hide. Kangi, is there something wrong? The original reward for you was actually more than this, but later the Stephen family and the Bennett family intervened. Kangi sighed. I didn't expect that they had already inserted their hands into the academy. Although they dare not do anything to you on the surface, you must be careful. It turned out to be them again. Ji Yunfan's eyes flashed with coldness. Forget it, let's not talk about this for now. To be honest, your skeleton warrior is really incredible to me. After this incident, I'm afraid someone has already set their sights on him, so if you can use it to exchange for some benefits, use it to exchange for some benefits. Teacher Kangi suddenly changed the subject. How could Ji Yunfan not know what Teacher Kangi meant, and nodded. Ji Yunfan thought to himself, my strength is still too poor. If I can have the strength to despise everything, who dares to play tricks in front of me? But if I teach you, you can't do it, then don't blame me. As Teacher Kangi expected, other teachers in the academy soon talked to Ji Yunfan, wanting to get the method of making a skeleton warrior from him. After Teacher Kangi's suggestion, Ji Yunfan naturally knew what he should do. After exchanging certain benefits, he handed over the method of making a skeleton warrior to these teachers. After getting the method, these teachers left happily one by one. So what if we know the manufacturing method? This thing can't be made, except by senior alchemists. Ji Yunfan sneered. You are such a bad boy. Aren't you afraid that they will come to trouble you? Sakuden said with a sly smile. I told them at the beginning that this thing has many disadvantages, but they didn't listen. How can it be so difficult to tell the truth these days? Ji Yunfan shrugged and said indifferently. Don't be so naive, kid. I'm getting more and more interested in the so-called treasure house of your academy. I really don't know if there will be any good things in it. Sakuden's voice sounded again. Sakuden, what exactly is that artifact called the Fire God Pearl? If it is really the Fire God Pearl, it would be really amazing. But I think that should be impossible. You know, the Fire God Pearl is a legendary main artifact, once controlled by the main god of fire. I have only heard of this thing in the god realm. Since I was born, the main god of fire, Matilda Yule, has disappeared. The main artifact? What is that? Are artifacts also divided into levels? Of course, gods have their own level system, and artifacts naturally have their own level divisions. In the god realm, except for the artifact of creation, the most powerful artifact should be the main artifact. It is said that these main artifacts were not made by the main gods. If it was not made by the main god, then how did it come from? Bestowed by the father god of creation. Sakuden said slowly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Weirdwood. The Alkaline Academy Treasury, as one of the most important places in Alkaline Academy, is naturally the safest place in the entire academy. Just at the entrance of the treasury, there are 2 level 6 masters. You have to know that masters of this level are definitely big shots who can cause an earthquake with just a stomp of their feet outside, but in Alkaline Academy, they are just used to guard the door. It can be seen that the entire academy attaches great importance to this treasure house. Who dares to break into Alkaline Academy? Don't they know that this is one of the forbidden areas of the academy? One of the level 6 professionals dressed as a mage said in a cold tone and expressionless face. Teacher, I'm a student of Alkaline Academy. I was ordered to come here to pick a treasure. Please let me in, teachers. Ji Yunfan said as he took out the access card of the primary treasury and handed it to the level 6 professional teacher dressed as a mage. The 2 6th level professional instructors, after seeing the card handed over by Ji Yunfan, showed a hint of surprise in their eyes. You are a student in the advanced class. I didn't expect that you could get such a thing at such a young age. Instructors, you are wrong. I'm not a student in the advanced class. If you are not a student in the advanced class, are you a student in the graduating class? Those who can get the access card to the treasure house should not be ordinary students. Why have I never heard of you? Instructors, you are wrong. I'm not a student in the graduating class. I just entered the intermediate class this year. Yunfan explained. I didn't expect you to be a student in the intermediate class. Are the students in the intermediate class so outstanding now? The two 6th level professionals naturally saw Yunfan's strength at a glance. Forget it. Forget about it. Since you have the access card to the treasure house, go in and choose the treasure. But you must remember that this card can only be used to select a treasure. If you like a treasure, insert it into the card slot in front of the treasure. Remember to put it in there. Don't try to take shortcuts, otherwise you will be severely punished. Another 6th level professional instructor said. I know. Yunfan nodded and responded. Boy, I didn't expect that. There is a different world here. The magic circle here is really good for this world. Yunfan had just walked into the treasure house when Sakadan's voice rang out from the bottom of his heart. I think it's impossible to make it too bad. As a treasure house that can be ranked in the empire, it would be too unworthy if it was too bad. Yunfan looked at the dazzling array of treasures, and his heart could not help but have a little more possessiveness. Sakadan, there are so many treasures here. Why don't you think of a way to let me collect a few more? Boy, you really think too much about this matter. If I were still a god, this magic barrier could not stop me at all. But now I'm no longer the same as before, and I have no magic power at all. How can I break this god level magic circle? You mean the magic circle here has reached the god level? Yunfan said as he walked into the treasure house. There were so many things in the primary treasure house that Yunfan was a little dazzled for a while. Sakadan, there are so many things here. Which one should I choose? Although there are many things here, there are not many things that you can really use and are more valuable. Of course, this is just a primary treasure house and it is good to have these collections. Sakadan said. Yunfan walked in step by step and suddenly a piece of black wood attracted his attention. Yunfan always felt that the piece of wood seemed to have some magic guiding him to approach. When he arrived in front of him, he saw that the stone tablet in front of the wood read, the first generation of the Dean of the Academy got a magical piece of wood by chance. This wood looks ordinary, but it is extremely hard. The Dean spent a lot of effort, but could not damage the wood. Although the Dean thought it was a treasure, no one could crack the secret, so it was thrown into the primary treasure house. The material of this piece of wood seems to have been seen somewhere, but I can't remember it for a while. Is this thing useful to me? Yunfan thought to himself. Just when Yunfan was about to leave this strange piece of wood, he suddenly felt a restlessness in his mind. Is it the world tree? Yunfan felt the location where the restlessness came from and instantly thought of the world tree. A feeling of great desire left a deep imprint in Yunfan's heart. He felt that the seedling of the world tree in his body wanted to fly out of his mind. What on earth is this strange piece of wood? Why did even the seedling of the world tree react? Yunfan took out his exchange card and prepared to exchange the strange piece of wood. Boy, what are you going to do? Even if you are self-destructive, you dare not choose a piece of waste wood. Just when Yunfan was about to insert the card into the groove, Sakadan's voice sounded in Yunfan's mind again. Although I don't know what this piece of wood is, I know it is definitely a treasure. The seedling of the world tree in my body has never made me feel so eager to get something. Yunfan shook his head and murmured. It turned out to be what that guy wanted. Sakadan's face changed slightly. In that case, you should do what he said. Thinking of the power of the sapling, Sakadan dared not object to anything. Yunfan said as he inserted the card into the groove of the face. Then, a green light flashed on the wood not far away. The light that originally protected the wood disappeared without a trace in an instant. Yunfan took a step forward, picked up the piece of wood in front of him, and held it in his hand. Since you have found what you want, then leave now. Before Yunfan could carefully observe the wood in his hand, a 6th level professional who was originally guarding the door suddenly appeared in front of him, took a look at the strange wood in Yunfan's hand, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect that you would choose this unknown wood, wasting this opportunity in vain. This piece of wood has existed since the construction of the treasure house. During this period, I don't know how many people have used it for a search, but this guy's like a stone in a pit and has never gained anything. He doesn't think Ji Yunfan can study it out. Chapter 110, King Emperor's Tao Keiju of Creation. Ji Yunfan did not refute, nodded, and walked out of the treasure house, back to the dormitory. Boy, why did you choose such a useless piece of wood? Sakuden asked in confusion. How do you know it is useless? Who knows, this is the most valuable treasure in the entire treasure house. Ji Yunfan smiled mysteriously. You are deceiving the undead with this valuable treasure. Then do you think you are an undead now? Ji Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth. Get out, are you deliberately irritating me? Sakuden roared. You are so petty, isn't it? Just that you are an undead. Is it necessary to get so angry? Ji Yunfan pouted. Then, Ji Yunfan tried to inject the life element in his body into the wood. The originally lifeless wood seemed to be activated. The wood began to tremble slowly, and light green halos surrounded the entire wood. How could this change suddenly happen? Could this piece of wood really be a treasure? Sakuden felt a little incredible. At this time, Ji Yunfan could no longer answer Sakuden's question, because at this moment he had fallen into chaos and lost his self-awareness. The faint green halo slowly expanded in an instant and completely covered the surface of Ji Yunfan's body. In Sakuden's surprised eyes, the sapling in Ji Yunfan's mind, which was originally as solid as a rock, became active again. Why is this thing moving again? Sakuden said with some horror, full of fear of this sapling, and this sapling would swallow him directly. However, the sapling did not seem to pay attention to him, but flew directly out of Ji Yunfan's sea of consciousness and landed on the ordinary ancient tree. Just like the last time it swallowed the man-eating flower, the roots of the sapling were directly inserted into the strange wood. As time went by, the unknown ancient wood in Ji Yunfan's hand slowly became smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared without a trace. The world tree sapling, which was only about the size of a foot, spread its branches and leaves again, and grew rapidly, as if it had been injected with hormones. After an unknown amount of time, the sapling grew up, and slowly stopped, after doubling its original size. At this time, the green light around Ji Yunfan became thicker, and then a strange energy wave flowed through his body. Is this Dao Qi? Such a strange Dao Qi fluctuation. I have never seen such a strange fluctuation. What exactly is the Dao Qi in this kid's body? As a former god, Sakuden believed that her knowledge was pretty good. Although she had never practiced Dao Qi, she was very familiar with the properties of Dao Qi. After about half an hour, Ji Yunfan woke up slowly. Hey, where is that piece of wood? Ji Yunfan looked around. Don't look for it, kid. The piece of wood is gone. Did someone steal it? Kid, you think too much. The thing was swallowed by the world tree in your sea of consciousness. What? At this moment, a stream of information came out from his sea of consciousness, and then Ji Yunfan's mind exploded. What came into his mind was a set of fighting ki cultivation methods called King Di Creation Fighting Keiju. Why are you so surprised, kid? What are you doing? Sakuden said unhappily. The world tree left a fighting ki technique in my mind. This fighting ki technique is really too powerful. It's just a fighting ki technique. It's not worth making such a fuss. If you want it, I will give you a set of god level techniques. There is no problem. What level is that fighting ki technique? Sakuden suddenly thought that the fighting ki technique was passed on to Ji Yunfan by the world tree, so it shouldn't be too bad. I don't know what level this Dao Qi technique is. It seems that it is not appropriate to classify it according to our usual Dao Qi techniques. Ji Yunfan said with a bitter smile. How can Dao Qi techniques not have levels? Even this lowest level soldier level technique has levels. You are really a joker. Sakuden, I'm definitely not kidding. This Dao Qi technique is indeed very special. According to the information sent to me by the world tree, this technique seems to be able to evolve. Dao Qi techniques that can evolve. Can you please stop saying such ignorant things? Sakuden said without believing it at all. But the information that the world tree conveyed to me is indeed like this. Are you sure? How can there be such a martial art in this world? It's totally unreasonable. Tell me about this martial art quickly. This martial art says that only those who possess the world tree can practice this martial art. Sakuden, you'd better forget it. Even if you can't practice it, you can tell me about this fighting spirit technique. I want to see what the fighting spirit technique that can evolve in this world looks like. This set of martial arts is called the Green Emperor's Creation Fighting Spirit Art. This martial art says that, as long as I can collect elemental crystals of various attributes and absorb them into my body, I can have fighting spirit of the corresponding attributes. And according to the martial art, every time an elemental crystal of an attribute is collected, the level of the martial art will automatically increase by 1 level. Fuck this. How is it possible to have such a perverted martial art? If I continue to practice it, will I become the god of creation? This. Sakadin could no longer describe his feelings at the moment. It is very likely, because according to this set of exercises, practicing this set of exercises will change the properties of the body, and you can master all the magic element and fighting spirit of the system. When all the elemental properties are combined into one, you can control the chaotic properties and become a true god of creation. Fuck, Dante. I really want to strangle you to death. I worked so hard to break through to the middle god, but I didn't expect that you would get such an amazing technique. Sakadin was really jealous at this moment. Sakadin, when I become a real god, I will find a way to revive you. Forget it. I hope you can do what you say, but you tell me, are you the illegitimate child of the god of destiny? Otherwise how can your luck be so good? No, even the god of destiny doesn't have such a good destiny. Although the god of destiny can control the law of destiny, the Green Emperor's creation fighting spirit art has exceeded the scope of his control. Because Yunfan's soul comes from the earth, the fate of this world can no longer control Yunfan. Chapter 111 Selling Recipes. Yunfan tried to control the movement of his Dao Qi and found that it was as flexible as his hands and feet. Judging from the amount of Dao Qi in your body, you are definitely a 3rd level warrior now. You are fucking cheating. Yunfan's cultivation speed is already very fast for others, but in his opinion, it is still not fast enough. Even though Yunfan has the help of the world tree that others cannot match, he still feels that time is not enough. He has a feeling that as time goes by, the number of people he offends will increase and become more powerful. He doesn't want to expose his abilities too much in front of others. The more he exposes, the more those people want to kill him. The advantage he has hidden now is far from enough to deal with those powerful nobles. Once they get angry, they will definitely cause a fatal blow to him. The question is, how can I maximize my strength? I asked Sakadin very stupidly, and the answer given was, take drugs. This answer basically made Yunfan scold Sakadin like a dog. Come to think of it, it seems that there is no better way than taking drugs. Wait, world tree, if we can make the world tree grow again, will we get some unexpected gains? I can't care about so much. First of all, I should get some high level equipment and scrolls to arm myself from head to toe. Fortunately, there is the existence of the world tree. I only need to practice one system, and the life system will grow along with it. This can save a lot of effort compared to most people. Without sufficient strength, I will be killed by those families sooner or later. Yunfan did not regret setting up such an enemy. Only with the oppression of the enemy can he force himself to try every possible way to improve his strength. At present, it seems that the only way to quickly improve his strength is some special magic potions. But recently, because I have offended those noble forces, those forces have united and refused to sell all chemical potions to me. Stephen family, Bennett family, sooner or later I will make you look good. But we in China also have a saying called do it yourself, and you will have enough food and clothing. Do you think that, if you control the alchemical potion, and don't sell it to me, and ban me, I can't practice it myself? Now that you have made a decision, just do it boldly. This is Yunfan's consistent principle in life. Sakadin, do you have the formula for all chemical potions? Boy, you look down on me, Sakadin. I know that in the god realm, although my strength is not that good, I'm a famous alchemist. The methods of making all chemical potions are in the hands of alchemists, and these alchemists generally belong to some powerful nobles. Many alchemical potions are passed down from generation to generation. Therefore, even the majesty of the empire does not dare to easily destroy a family with an exclusive alchemical heritage. Sakuden handed over all the alchemical formulas he knew to Ji Yunfan. Sakuden, I didn't expect you to have so many alchemical potion formulas. Is this the spiritual tempering potion of the Stephen family? Is this the blue sea potion of the Bennett family? There are even enhanced versions of them. Didn't they say that this potion was invented by their ancestors? How could you know their formulas? Ji Yunfan said in surprise. Huh, I remember that the formulas of these medicines have existed for more than 10,000 years. Our ancestors have only existed for a few years. Do you think those medicine formulas were really invented by them? Sakuden was stunned. They are actually a group of people who deceive the world and steal the reputation. In his previous life, Ji Yunfan looked down on such people the most. They obviously had no real ability, but they pretended to be very good and took other people's achievements for themselves. But now that I have these two formulas, I can make good use of them. Ji Yunfan showed a wicked smile. Do you have any ghost ideas again, kid? Sakuden understood Ji Yunfan's expression very well. Once he showed this expression, it meant that someone was going to be unlucky. The Stephen family and the Bennett family have had many enemies over the years, but they are afraid of the two families' power and control over all chemical potions, so they dare not speak out. In this case, we might as well help them. You kid, are you going to publish the formulas of these two potions? I won't publish them, but I will choose a few powerful families to trade the formulas. Because he has the upgraded versions of these two medicines, Ji Yunfan naturally doesn't care about the original formulas. Ji Yunfan bought a set of black clothes that can cover the whole body in a clothing store. Black clothes like this without special properties are generally rarely in demand, and only some people who perform special tasks will buy them. After Ji Yunfan got the black clothes, he didn't put them on himself immediately. Instead, he went back to the dormitory of the college, took out a rune pen, wrote and drew on it, and soon, a special black clothes was made by him. Then Ji Yunfan put the black clothes on himself. At the moment, when the black clothes were put on, a black mist appeared directly in front of Ji Yunfan's face, covering his face. Ji Yunfan went around the imperial capital commercial street and basically inquired about the background of all the shops. Finally, they came to an alchemy store called Treasure on the commercial street. The store is not small, but the business is average. It is said that the backer of this store is a prince who does not get along with the Stephen family and the Bennett family, but he is targeted by the Stephen family and the Bennett family. Ji Yunfan walked into the store. Although the waiter was a little surprised by Ji Yunfan's dress, he still entertained him warmly. Hello, sir. Is there anything I can do for you? It's like this. I want to find your person in charge for a business. Ji Yunfan said. I don't know what kind of business this sir is going to discuss. If it's just an ordinary business, I can help you. Many people who came to Treasure like to say that they are here to discuss business, but there are not many people who are really worthy of the person in charge. If I prepare the formula of the alchemy formula potion, I wonder if you can make the decision. What sir? Want to sell the formula of the alchemy potion? I don't know what kind of formula you are going to sell. If it's just the common ones, then you don't have to. Spiritual refining potion and blue ocean potion. What? The Stephen family's spirit refining potion, and the Bennett family's blue ocean potion. The waiter was shocked. Chapter 112. Everyone has their own needs. Sir, are you sure you really have the formulas for these two potions? The waiter still couldn't believe his ears. Yes. But, haven't these two formulas always been controlled by the Stephen family and the Bennett family? How could you have the formulas for these two potions? If it was to sell one of the potion formulas, the waiter might still believe it. Even if the real person in front of him stole it, it would be impossible for him to get both formulas at the same time. I need to remind you that these two formulas were not invented by their two families. They have existed tens of thousands of years ago, Ji Yunfan said with a smile. If it is really as you said, I really can't make the decision on this matter. Please sit inside first, and I will go to invite the steward now. The waiter hurriedly let Ji Yunfan into the living room. Not long after, a woman dressed very gorgeously walked into the living room under the guidance of the waiter. The woman looked Ji Yunfan up and down, as if she wanted to see through Ji Yunfan. Is this your attitude towards guests? If so, I'm very disappointed. Ji Yunfan said with an unfathomable look. Sir, please don't be angry. It's my fault that I, Langfear, didn't treat you well, and was a little bit reckless. The beautiful woman bowed gracefully. I heard that you are going to sell us 2 alchemy potion formulas. I don't know if it's true. If it's true, I will definitely give you a satisfactory price. I think your store already knows the significance of these 2 formulas. If you accept my formulas, you will definitely be targeted by those 2 companies. Yunfan reminded. Sir, don't worry about this matter. I know how to deal with treasures. I just hope that you will only sell the formula to us. Langfear smiled and said gracefully, you can rest assured about this matter. As long as you give a suitable price, I will never sell it to anyone else, and maybe we will cooperate next time. Yunfan said calmly. Does the gentleman have other alchemy potion formulas in his hand? Langfear was very surprised. She was very curious about the identity of this mysterious man in front of her. He actually had other formulas in his hand. Yunfan did not respond, and said very calmly, what price are you going to give for these 2 alchemical formulas? How about 100 million gold coins for each formula? Langfear said, while stroking her hair. Yunfan was shocked when he heard the other party's offer. He did not expect that the other party would be so bold. You know, 200 million gold coins is not a small amount. Even if it is converted into crystal coins, it is 2 million crystal coins. Deal. Go and get 1 million crystal coin cards for this gentleman. Langfear waved her hand gently and said to the entourage around her. After hearing what Langfear said, those beings turned around and left, and soon came in holding 2 crystal coin cards. These 2 crystal coin cards are 2 anonymous crystal coin cards, so you don't have to worry about being recognized outside. Langfear seemed to see that Yunfan was a little hesitant and explained with a smile. Yunfan nodded and took out 2 scrolls from his space ring. These 2 scrolls record the 2 alchemical potions we agreed on. After hearing Yunfan's words, Langfear's eyes shrank suddenly. She took the 2 scrolls from Yunfan's hand and opened them to identify them. There should be no problem with these 2 formulas. Langfear glanced at the follower holding the crystal coin card. The follower understood and hurriedly handed the crystal coin card to Yunfan. Yunfan looked at the amount in the crystal coin card and knew that there was no problem with the amount in the crystal coin card, so he put the crystal coin card directly into his space ring. I wonder what other formulas you have in your hand? Langfear asked tentatively. If I need to sell formulas in the future, your store must be my first choice. It's getting late now, so I'll leave first. Yunfan did not plan to sell other formulas. Looking at Yunfan's back as he left, Langfear showed a thoughtful expression on her face. Miss, should we send someone to follow him? A dark shadow suddenly appeared beside Langfear like a ghost. No need, since this person doesn't want to show his true face, we don't have to force it. If he really has a lot of alchemy formulas, we might offend him if we do this, and it won't be worth it. Langfear said wisely. I will never let him find out if I follow him. Forget it. I always feel a mysterious power in him. I really don't know where this guy got these 2 formulas. Miss, I think it is necessary to remind you that these 2 alchemy formulas are of great importance and involve a wide range of issues. If they are not handled properly, it may bring a devastating blow to us. I think this matter should be discussed with the Master and His Majesty. I have my own idea about this matter. Go and invite our potion alchemist. After the black shadow man under his command left, Langfear murmured to herself, who is this guy? I know he has ulterior motives, but I still have to get involved. When this princess finds out who you are, I will make sure you pay. At the same time, Yunfan couldn't help but shiver. He didn't know that he had offended the little witch Langfear. I didn't expect this little girl to be so courageous that she was willing to spend 2 million crystal coins to buy these 2 formulas. Yunfan shook the 2 crystal coin cards in his hand and said, forget it, don't think too much. I hope these 2 alchemy formulas can attract some of their attention so that I can have a buffer for a while. The next day, after class, Princess Avel returned to the palace because of something. The other people in the mercenary team also had their own things to do. It seemed that only Yunfan was idle. Yunfan thought about it and felt that it would be good to do some tasks to improve his mercenary level. When he came to the mercenary association, He found that there were a lot more people today than usual. A lot of new tasks and new rewards were posted on the wall of the Mercenary Association's lobby, and the prices and requirements of the tasks were marked on the back. Yunfan looked at the rewards for those high-level tasks and couldn't help but feel a little moved, but when he thought that his level could not accept these tasks at all, he sighed and shook his head in annoyance. The Azure Mercenary team is recruiting wind mages. We require more than 1 year of mercenary experience and a sense of teamwork. Most importantly, we need to be proficient in wind magic skills and master the art of lightness. Chapter 113, Intricacies. Light Priest. The team is in urgent need of an experienced Light Priest. Other mages and warriors, please do not disturb. Are you stupid? Light Priest is so popular, how could there be no organization? We are hiring tough and strong shield warriors of level 2 or above, to join our mercenary team at a high price, to ensure efficient completion of the mission. Similar to job hunting on Earth, it seems that magicians and warriors who have no adventure experience are often rejected and no one wants them, even if they are of good level. After all, they have too little experience in dealing with Warcraft. If they are not careful in facing Warcraft, they will die. Who dares to want such magicians and warriors? Forget about the team mission first. Is there any good mission to do? After arranging things properly, Yunfan began to concentrate on practicing. Yunfan's fighting spirit and magic power are advancing by leaps and bounds every day with the help of the World Tree and alchemy potions. In the past half month, the alchemy potion formula that Yunfan deliberately spread out has also played a big role, attracting a lot of firepower for Yunfan. If Yunfan can show his talent in the grade selection candidate competition 3 months later, then he will definitely be valued by the royal family and the college's top management. The college's top management attaches great importance to geniuses. Once Yunfan is recognized as a genius and valued by the top management, even the Stephen family and the Bennett family cannot easily touch him. There is still a long time before the candidate competition test in 2 or 3 months, and Yunfan has enough time. Now the students in the same class are completely ignored by Yunfan. As time goes by, the students in the same class will find that the gap between them and Yunfan will become larger and larger. At this time, a piece of news spread like crazy throughout the college. Have you heard that the fight between Zenbeo and the Stephen and Bennett families is getting more and more intense? Did you know? The patriarchs of the Stephen and Bennett families announced publicly that if Zenbeo does not hand over the person who stole the formula, they will go to war with Zenbeo. The person in charge of Zenbeo is not an easy person to deal with. They said that the Stephen and Bennett families are just people who deceive the world and steal the reputation. They found the alchemy potion formula from ancient books. The more the news spread, the more versions there were. No one knew which news was true. The whole college was going crazy with gossip. After all, in today's world, where alchemy technology is seriously lacking, those 2 alchemy potions can be said to be the 2 mainstream formulas, which is amazing. Yunfan has been relatively low-key recently. Although he did stand out some time ago, he first made the Stephen and Bennett families lose face, and then got the opportunity to enter the college's treasury. Then there was news that the Stephen family suppressed him, and he became a celebrity in the college. Dante, you've been lucky lately. The Stephen family and the Bennett family are too busy to target you. Amy said to Yunfan happily. I'm really lucky. Yunfan smiled slightly. It was really just good luck. The real reason was probably only known by Yunfan himself. Several students in the academy gathered together. Haha, Stephen, I heard that you were taught a lesson by Dante, the guy who was born as a slave servant. Is that true? A tall boy of 15 or 16 years old came over and teased. The students in the academy are actually divided into several factions, and the relationship between them is not very harmonious. This boy named Robin is from the royal family and is quite prestigious in the academy. There is a group of people following him. He is not very good with the people of the Stephen family and the Bennett family. Hearing Robin's words, Stephen clenched his fists tightly and glared at Robin coldly. The family has been under great pressure these days. Zenbeo got the alchemy secret formula of their family from somewhere and has been very busy. The suppression of Yunfan has also stopped. No matter what happened, Yunfan is still alive and well. Such things are spreading like wildfire in the academy. The most embarrassed person is Stephen. I won't bother you with this matter. The young master is worried about it. She will not have a good end in the end if she offends the people of our Stephen family. Stephen said coldly. I heard from my sister that if you hadn't used him as a shield at that time, he would not have awakened his spiritual power. In this way, you are still his benefactor. I don't know why your relationship has become so bad. Robin raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a mocking smile. Robin, don't bother me with my affairs. Stephen's face turned green, and he tried to calm himself down. Haha. Robin laughed and turned away. Stephen's face became more and more gloomy. Damn bastards. Wait, I will definitely make you look good. Stephen seemed to have thought of something again. Looking at Robin's back as he left, a gloomy smile flashed across his lips. Don't think that we Stephen are afraid of your royal family, and think that having a few worshippers is great. One day, my Stephen family will replace your royal family. Master, why do you say so much to little Stephen? After all, the boy named Dante is also a person valued by his majesty. A middle-aged wizard dressed in his 50s beside Robin asked in confusion. I have always heard from my father how powerful this kid is. I want to see if it is really as they say. Robin flashed a jealous look. Master, if you let the master know about this, I'm afraid. Don't worry, I know how to deal with this matter. Hearing Robin's words, the middle-aged wizard raised his eyebrows, and a look of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He wanted to say something, but he didn't continue. Huaksha grocery store on Commercial Street. Dante. Yunfan was busy in the shop when he suddenly heard a clear call from outside the door. Yunfan looked in the direction of the sound and saw Amy standing in the distance, walking towards him with a slightly happy look on her face. Ha, Amy, I haven't seen you for a few days. You look beautiful again. I wonder who will be lucky enough to marry you in the future. Yunfan smiled slightly and felt a little shy when he thought about what happened between him and Amy. Hearing Yunfan's words, Amy's eyes flashed with a hint of joy, her cheeks flushed slightly, and she looked at Yunfan and said, how can I be as good as you say? Amy, you came at the right time. I just made a magic refrigerator, but I don't know how it works. I will give it to you. Can you help me test it? Yunfan said with a smile. What is a magic refrigerator? You are going to give it to me. Isn't that a bit bad? Amy was very curious about the refrigerator made by Yunfan, but she was embarrassed to accept it. Chapter 114 Alarm. At the same time, not far from the store, a group of more than a dozen people walked slowly by. They were dressed in fancy clothes. The leader was a young man about 17 or 18 years old, tall, with blue hair covering most of his face, and a sharp look with a bit of sinister air. The young man's eyes swept across Yunfan's Huaksha grocery store, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. Then he regained his composure, talked to a few people, and walked into the Huaksha grocery store. Yunfan raised his eyebrows slightly, and the strange look in that person's eyes was caught by Yunfan. Yunfan thought to himself, these people are definitely here with bad intentions, and they are probably preparing to brew some tricks. Dante, what's wrong with you? Amy couldn't help but speak when she saw Yunfan standing there motionless. Nothing. Yunfan came back to his senses and smiled faintly. Amy, I wonder if you know who those people are? You mean the ones in the prince's mansion? Amy thought for a moment and smiled. Amy didn't know why Yunfan asked this, but she still answered Yunfan's question. People in the prince's mansion? Yunfan nodded slightly and wrote it all down. Logically speaking, the prince's mansion should not have any communication with him. I heard that the people in the prince's mansion belong to the royal family. How could I feel the murderous intent from them? This empire is really full of dangers. I really hate these intrigues. I don't know how many enemies there are in the open and in the dark. The situation in the empire is much more complicated than he imagined. I don't know how many people from external forces are lurking. I seem to be involved in a very large vortex. He feels that he must be extremely careful. At this time, a rapid alarm sounded. After hearing the alarm, many students in the market looked depressed. What is this? Yunfan was puzzled. This is the defense alarm in the school. It usually only goes off when something very troublesome happens. The academy hasn't sounded the alarm for more than 10 years. I don't know why it sounded this time. In addition, the academy has a rule that anyone who hears the alarm must return to class immediately and accept the academy's arrangements. If someone violates the rules and is found, they will be expelled from the academy. Amy took a deep breath. Dante, let's go back and gather. Then she pulled Yunfan and ran towards the class. When they arrived at their class, most of the students in the class had already arrived. Teacher Annie stood on the podium and saw that most of the students had arrived. Then Shen Sheng said to the academy, since most of you have arrived, I will tell you the news that the ground has brought to you. As everyone knows, there are a total of 5 king beasts in the Reborn forest. These 5 king beasts have signed a non-interference treaty with us. The human race is saint-level powerhouses. Since the day before yesterday, no one knows what has happened to the monsters in the Reborn forest. They have left the forest one by one and started to attack the surrounding towns. Because the number of monsters attacking the city this time is too large, His Majesty cannot issue an extermination order and mobilize the students in our academy to participate in the extermination of the turbulent monsters and rescue the towns of the Empire. Because of the special and dangerous nature of this mission is not a mandatory mission, but the Empire will give corresponding rewards to each member who participates in the extermination according to their merits. How could this be? Didn't they say that a treaty has been signed? Or have these monsters gone crazy? Many students exclaimed. It seems that the situation is really serious this time, otherwise, the Empire would not have issued such an order. No wonder when I went out to do the mission, I found that the monsters around me were no longer afraid of death. If there was no magic circle outside the academy, I'm afraid those monsters would have rushed into the academy. But this is a chance. Maybe I can be directly conferred as a noble. Many civilian students were tempted at this moment. But monster siege is not a trivial matter. If you are not careful, you may lose your life. Wealth and honor are sought in danger. Do you want to spend your whole life like this? That's right. The brave will die of overeating, and the timid will die of starvation. Anyway, no matter what you plan, I will try it. In a while, the students who are going to participate in the extermination mission will come to me to sign up. I will be ready to set off in half an hour. Dante, are you going? Avril asked. Yes. I don't know, Your Highness. As a princess of the Empire, I should lead by example. How can I ignore the people of the Empire? Avril said loudly. Okay, students, we will arrange for you to go to the town where the monster tide broke out later, but don't worry, because you haven't officially graduated yet, so you won't be arranged to go to those very dangerous places. A teacher said to the students who had signed up and were ready to leave. I didn't expect that as a student in the academy, I would be treated preferentially, he said with some surprise. Of course. A slightly fat magic student next to Yunfan explained with a smile. After all, we are the future of the Empire. How can we die easily? You make him optimistic. Yunfan said with a raised eyebrow. Haha, let me tell you a secret secretly. The instructor who is responsible for assigning tasks this time is actually my uncle. The student suddenly laughed and waited until the laughter stopped before whispering, my uncle promised my aunt that he would definitely arrange a job for me that is easy and profitable. How about it? Brother, follow me. Sure enough, no matter which world you are in, there are many things to do with people in the court. Yunfan couldn't help but smile. Yunfan quickly got a lot of information from this old bird classmate who was familiar with him. Fatty, what are you talking to Dante about? Just when the little fat man was playing the flute enthusiastically, a somewhat cold voice came from behind him. He turned his head involuntarily, and when he saw the face of the speaker, his eyes couldn't help shrinking and he shuddered. Princess Avril. Are you surprised to see me coming? A cold light flashed in Avril's eyes. Do you know who Dante is? He is a member of my mercenary team. Little fat man, you seem to be trying to steal my girl just now. Princess, you must have heard it wrong just now. Even if you give me 100 guts, I would not dare to steal your girl, princess. The little fat man said with a pale face. Chapter 115 Speculation. Brother, you must say a few more good words for me. The little fat man said to Yunfan with a sad face. He just wanted to brag, but he didn't expect to offend Princess Avril. You know, Princess Avril is a famous little witch. Many people were punished by her because they offended her. He dared to dig her into his corner. This is definitely the rhythm of courting death. Yunfan smiled and shook his head. Come with me quickly. I have already told the teachers that our mercenary team will be in one group. Avril pulled Dante and walked not far away. Brother Dante, you are here. I haven't seen you for so long. I really miss my brother. Kim laughed and put his arm around Yunfan's shoulders. Brother Kim, you are back from home. Feeling the strong brotherhood, although Yunfan was still a little uncomfortable, he still said calmly, yes, Brother Dante, you must come to my house with me next time. Let me treat you well. Kim said with a silly smile. The academy rescue team quickly assembled properly. In order to give full play to the role of each profession and optimize the combat effectiveness, the academy assigned the students. What Yunfan didn't expect was that in addition to the mercenary team, the little fat man and several other students were also assigned to the same place with them. Little fat man, I didn't expect that we are so predestined. Avril looked at the little fat man with a sly smile. Your Highness, what a coincidence. The little fat man couldn't help but shuddered and said with a sad face, why are you not happy to see this princess? Avril narrowed her eyes. It is Pepe's honor to meet the holy princess. The little fat man Pepe's forced a smile. In this case, don't worry, your highness will take good care of you. Avril smiled evilly and walked away. Then, thank you, your highness. Looking at Princess Avril who was going away, the little fat man slapped his face hard. Peppers, why are you so suicidal? Now that the little witch has targeted him, even if he doesn't die, he will be skinned. Yunfan smiled and patted the little fat boy Peppers on the shoulder. You must behave well. You may be valued by Her Royal Highness the Princess. Brother, Grandpa, please say something nice to Her Royal Highness the Princess and let her ignore me. The little fat boy Peppers pleaded with a pale face. I'm afraid I can't do anything about this matter. Yunfan shook his head, but you don't have to worry too much. Although Her Royal Highness the Princess is a little naughty, she is still very kind. But, the little fat boy Peppers wanted to say something else, but Yunfan didn't talk to him anymore. He took a step and walked towards the other members of the mercenary team. Looking at Yunfan who was leaving, the little fat boy Peppers' face changed again and finally took a deep breath. Forget it, it's inevitable to be bad, but to be honest, Her Royal Highness Princess Avril, although a little arrogant, has never hurt anyone. The meeting hall of the Imperial Palace. What exactly is going on with this beasttide? Haven't we signed an agreement with their royal family? Your Majesty, we have sent the Imperial inspection team to investigate this matter. I believe there will be results soon. I hope you won't let me down. Oliver, what do you think is the reason for these monsters to riot? The middle-aged blonde man named Oliver hesitated and replied, according to past experience, there are monsters that have broken through the restrictions of the gods and become king monsters. As soon as Oliver finished speaking, many people in the palace meeting hall exclaimed and laughed. King monster? In fact, these are just my speculations. Let's discuss it after the results of the investigation come out. How is Coverdale's current situation in resisting the beasttide? Your Majesty, many towns have been captured, the Imperial Capital Guard has also set out, and the 4 major colleges have recruited many student soldiers to help. I believe the situation will be stabilized soon. It's just... Coverdale hesitated slightly. Just what? Her Highness the Princess seems to have joined the student army. What? What's wrong with this little girl? Don't you know that this will easily lead to danger? Forget it, let him go. Anyway, Henry and the others are still with her, so there shouldn't be much danger. Yunfan and others came to the town of Garrel, which is hundreds of miles away from the academy. The town was a little depressed, with many monster corpses left on the road. A few passers-by with wounds and bandages walked listlessly on the street, which always felt a little lifeless. Pastor, help deal with the wounded, and the other students follow me. The leading academy instructor said as he led the students towards the defense line of the monsters. What's the situation now? The leading instructor asked several people dressed as soldiers. Your Excellency, the situation is very critical now. Although we have resisted several attacks from monsters, many soldiers have been injured. The defense capacity of the town has rapidly decreased. According to this trend, I'm afraid that we can no longer resist several beast tides. The soldier said very respectfully, after seeing the instructor's dress. If that's the case, it's too troublesome. The leader frowned deeply. Tell me about the specific situation of the beast tide. Yes, sir, this beast tide is mostly first and second level monsters, but the latest monster attack actually has quite a few third level monsters. There are actually quite a few third level monsters. The leader's face became very ugly. Even if he is only a 4th level magician, it would take a lot of effort to deal with 3rd level monsters. The situation this time is very special. Although you are all recruited, I hope you can do what you can. The leader took a deep breath. Fuck, what on earth is my uncle thinking? He actually arranged me to a place where there are 3rd level monsters. How can my weak arms and legs withstand 3rd level monsters? Isn't this asking me to die? The little fat man complained with a sad face. Little fat man, don't you want a chance to make merit? The more dangerous the place, the better you can make merit. A student next to the little fat man said mockingly. You bastard. The little fat man pointed at the student angrily. What time is it now? You are still fooling around here. The leading instructor looked at the few people angrily. After this is over, I will definitely make you pay. The little fat man threatened viciously. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 Earth Dragon. Swish, swish. Just at this moment, there were bursts of noises from a distance, as if something was running fast. Hearing these sounds, the students looked serious. Pay attention, the beast tide is coming again, the instructor said with a heavy face. The students took out their weapons one by one, ready to welcome the coming of the monster tide. From time to time, monsters flew up from a distance. Although these monsters were not high level, most of them were first level, but they were extremely flexible and there were indeed a lot of them. Moreover, these monsters were not unique in type. There were spiders, lizards, and some monsters similar to centipedes on Earth. At this moment, there was a whoosh, and a cold light passed in front of everyone. Yunfan and others quickly saw clearly that it was an arrow. This arrow passed through the gap between the branches at a very tricky angle and flew towards one of the monsters. The arrow hit the monster lizard with one blow, and the lizard was directly knocked away and then fell down, smashing a cloud of dust with a bang. The lizard struggled on the ground for a few times, but couldn't get up. Then there was a continuous swishing sound. Seeing this, the students also started their battles one by one. Several warrior students rushed up like the wind, wielding their swords and killing several monsters. Several archers wearing Imperial soldier uniforms came from a distance. Who are they? The Imperial Army, the Archer Battalion. These archers of the Imperial Army are very powerful and have a very high hit rate. Almost every arrow kills the monster. The students were puzzled and surprised, looking at each other. Only the instructor who led the team was not surprised. You have to know that the people in front of them are from the Imperial Army Archer Battalion, which are composed of some experienced warriors. As time passed, the surrounding monsters also increased little by little. Before long, there were more than 30 monsters surrounding everyone. A deafening roar sounded and broke through the sky, and the whole ground shook violently, as if mixed with the violent temper of a storm. It's a 5th level monster. The instructor's face changed, and he said in horror. The innate conditions of monsters are much stronger than humans, so it is difficult for humans of the same level to beat monsters of the same level. With the current strength of everyone, it is too difficult to deal with such a monster. As for the team of Imperial archers, the strongest is only 4th level. How is it possible to be a 5th level monster? It's over. It's over. I'm really going to die this time. Many students fell into panic when they heard the words of the instructor. Yunfan frowned slightly. He didn't expect to encounter a 5th level monster here. Yunfan believed that his means were extraordinary, but he was still not very sure. Although he had experience in defeating 4th level monsters before, there was actually a world of difference between 4th and 5th levels. There are still many low-level monsters around, and if they really fight, they are all likely to be destroyed. But when the 5th level monster appeared in front of everyone, everyone's face changed again, and even Yunfan couldn't help but gasp. The monster was shaped like a lizard, several dozen meters long, with a huge mouth. Its eyes were as big as a bowl, protruding above its forehead, and it spewed venom from its mouth. Its whole body was covered with green scales. Sub-dragon species, Earth Dragon. Dragons can be said to be one of the most powerful races on the continent, with unparalleled attack and defense power, and their scales are naturally resistant to magic. It is almost difficult for warriors and magicians of the same level to break their defense. Although the Earth Dragon is not of pure dragon blood, but only belongs to the sub-dragon species, its strength is still beyond doubt. The Earth Dragon in the distance flew onto a boulder, stood on the boulder, and stared at Yunfan and others with a fierce look. "Go, follow me," the instructor leading the team shouted, and jumped back to escape. Everyone looked at each other and followed the instructor to escape. Seeing this, the Earth Dragon roared furiously, making bursts of roars. The monsters seemed to follow the orders of the Earth Dragon and chased in the direction of Yunfan and others' escape. Damn it. Even if it's a sub-dragon species, it can still command low-level monsters. The team leader cursed. Just as the team leader finished speaking, the Earth Dragon suddenly raised its head, opened its bloody mouth, and its pupils seemed to be condensing something. Instantly, a stream of dark green venom spurted out from the bloody mouth of the Earth Dragon. The venom first penetrated a big tree in front of the team leader, and then flew through several tall trees, and hit the place where the team leader was. The team leader was almost scared to death, and his face turned pale. If he was hit by this venom, even if he didn't die, he would lose half his life. But fortunately, this was not the first time the team leader had to deal with danger. Relying on his experience and reaction, he immediately rolled to one side. The next second, the place where the team leader was just now was completely corroded by the venom. If he hadn't dodged it, this corrosive venom would definitely leave him with nothing left. The magic element is strong to a certain extent. Although it cannot make the magician like a warrior, the physical fitness will also change and strengthen to a certain extent. Although this change is not particularly obvious, it will not make the magician completely powerless. Of course, thanks to the rich adventure experience of the team leader, he roughly estimated the attack direction of the venom, so he escaped from death. However, all this is not as simple as the team leader thought. The Earth Dragon crawled a few steps in his direction again, and spit out a stream of green venom at his face again. The venom quickly turned into a dark green mist in the air, and was blocked outside by the magic shield of the team leader. However, the magic shield of the team leader made a crackling sound of dissolving. Looking closely, the venom stuck to the magic shield actually began to dissolve the magic shield. What should I do? The team leader took a look and was horrified. The attack power of this Earth Dragon is too strong, and the frequency is so fast. If it continues like this, I'm afraid I can't resist it. Water element arrow. Fire element arrow. Earth shield. Wind roar. Just when the instructor felt that his life might be in danger, the students who followed him stopped and launched attacks. Although these attacks did not cause much damage to the Earth Dragon, they also helped the instructor to gain time to a certain extent. The instructor took advantage of this opportunity to take out his magic armor. Then, Yunfan saw a green light in the air in front of the instructor. This green light was like a ribbon floating in front of him, and it quickly intertwined into an arc-shaped windshield. Chapter 117. Restraint. The dark green poisonous fog, blocked by the windshield, was no longer a threat. The warriors of the Empire, go all out. For a moment, a rain of arrows whistled towards the Earth Dragon like a meteor. Although the arrows were shot from the Earth Dragon, it was only a matter of moment for the Imperial archers with strong fighting spirit. In just a moment, more than 20 sharp arrows shot at the Earth Dragon. The instructor who escaped death couldn't help but breathe a long sigh of relief, but he also knew that now was not the time to relax. At this moment, many melee warriors had already stood up, but their swords had very limited effect on the Earth Dragon. Many low-level warriors were even directly knocked away and lost their combat effectiveness in an instant. Low-level warriors, you retreat to the back. Leave this guy to us. Help us to contain the low-level monster. Several higher level warriors said to several low level warriors around them. Several low level warriors knew that they were not very useful, so they stopped entangled with the earth dragon and turned to run towards the low level monster not far away. Everyone, concentrate your firepower to get rid of the low level monsters first, the team leader ordered. Although the earth dragon only has a trace of dragon blood, it still has a strong dominance over low level monsters. Only by getting rid of those little guys can we be less distracted when dealing with the earth dragon. Perhaps because he was afraid that the students would not understand, the team leader explained. Under the intentional or unintentional guidance of the team leader, the earth dragon was guided by him to this relatively dense forest. In addition, due to the special terrain, the movement of the earth dragon was somewhat restricted. In this case, then go all out, Avril shouted angrily. The magic students chanted magic spells one by one. Perhaps because they felt the crisis, the low-level monsters gradually became violent. Just as the low-level monsters were about to rush over, the Imperial archers quickly picked up the crossbows and shot arrows one after another. Sure enough, you are a warrior who has experienced hundreds of battles. Yunfan was secretly amazed while releasing magic. Yunfan's magic was extremely accurate, and the low-level monsters hit by Yunfan's magic almost lost their attack power. The warriors among the students also picked up the swords in their hands and swung them down. Blood splattered, and the blood columns dyed the students red. The low-level monsters were finally solved by everyone, but Yunfan and the others understood that the battle had just begun. Everyone present knew the power of the earth dragon. Although the intelligence of the earth dragon beast was not high, its combat power was very terrifying. Yunfan felt a little uneasy at this moment, and he silently summoned the skeleton warrior, earth magician, create obstacles, and the warriors try to contain the earth dragon, to buy time for other magicians to chant magic spells. The leading instructor had already taken off at this moment, half floating in the air. Although he did not take any steps, his body rose with the wind. Yunfan knew that this was the flying technique in the wind magic. The flying technique is a magic that produces a flying effect by gathering risky magic element under the feet. Although the earth dragon is a very powerful monster, it is not invincible. If we can destroy its eyes, our chances of winning are still very high. The captain of the Imperial Army archers analyzed. No matter what kind of creature it is, the eyes are the most vulnerable. Yes, as long as the earth dragon's eyes are destroyed, the earth dragon will lose its target. At this moment, Yunfan has ordered the skeleton warriors to meet it. Skeleton warriors? What use can this kind of garbage have? Many students saw the skeleton warriors summoned by Yunfan and were stunned for a moment, then shook their heads and said, "Roar." The earth dragon leaped and ran over, with contempt in its eyes, waving its thick forelimbs and smashing its hooves at the skeleton warrior. Bang! The alloy knife in the skeleton warrior's hand collided with the earth dragon's front hoof. Almost everyone thought that the skeleton warrior would definitely fall apart under the heavy load, but what everyone did not expect was that the skeleton warrior actually took the earth dragon's hoof. Roar! Roar! The earth dragon roared angrily, as if venting its dissatisfaction. Each roar became more and more powerful, shocking everyone. It seemed to rise from the night rain. The fierce dragon roar turned into heavy thunder, rolling and pushing around. Even the clouds in the sky trembled as if they could collapse at any time. Oh my god, what did I just see? A low-level skeleton warrior actually blocked the attack of the earth dragon. This is too incredible. Steven also took out the magic wand. Looking at the exquisite magic wand in his hand, he felt a little indignant. Why is Dante better than him in everything? Since Dante appeared, he felt that he was increasingly looked down upon by others. Many students in the class now completely ignored his existence and looked at Dante differently. This made him jealous and crazy. It's just a skeleton warrior. How awesome can it be? Steven waved the magic wand in his hand, chanting the magic spell, and pointed the head of the magic wand at the earth dragon in the distance. His expression was particularly serious and focused. Furious son of darkness, listen to my call, become my magic sword, and crush all those who stand in my way. Dark surge. At this time, many students' eyes were already fixed on Steven. They didn't expect Steven to have broken through to the third level without knowing it. It shouldn't be difficult to hit such a big target as the earth dragon. Steven thought to himself, but when he finished the magic, he found that he seemed to be unable to fully control the magic of Dark Surge, and the magic wand shook unconsciously. I saw a black light streaking through the sky, flying diagonally, and hitting the tree trunk in the distance, at least 7 or 8 meters away from the Earth Dragon. Steven's face changed, and became a little pale, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching, which was particularly ugly. Seeing this scene, many students looked strange. Student Steven, I hope you can do what you can now, and don't waste magic easily, the instructor criticized seriously. Steven was almost going crazy. The magic element in his body were already in a critical situation, and could no longer support him to release magic. This time he clearly felt that he could hit the target, but he missed. He felt that the eyes of other students around him were full of deep hostility, as if they were laughing at him. Damn it, how could it be like this? I'm the heir of the Steven family, how could I be surpassed by a slave servant? Little Steven's expression was a little distorted. Chapter 118 Let's fight. The Earth Dragon seemed to have known their plan, and became even more ferocious. Its eyes locked onto the nearest low-level warrior. The Earth Dragon raised its tail high and instantly smashed down towards the low-level warrior it had locked onto. It was going to beat the low-level warrior into a meat pie. Arsehole. The low-level warrior who had been locked onto had turned pale, and cursed as he barely dodged the attack. Seeing that his attack had been dodged by the low-level warrior, the Earth Dragon had become somewhat angry, and swung its tail without distinguishing the target. Perhaps because it was in a state of rage at the moment, the Earth Dragon was now even more agile than at the beginning. With this kind of strength and speed, it was probably difficult for everyone to resist. The low-level warrior locked onto by the Earth Dragon had a speed of about 15 meters per second, but the Earth Dragon seemed to be even faster, and its thick hooves stepped towards the low-level warrior. Everyone else couldn't help but worry about the low-level warrior, who would die because of this. Fighting skills. Flash step. The low-level warrior's eyes showed a panic. He was now pushed to the extreme. He had never thought that a fighting skill that he had never successfully released in the past could be completed in an instant. The low-level warrior suddenly disappeared from the spot. The Earth Dragon's hoof hit the open space where the low-level warrior was originally, and the gravel and soil splashed up. Flash step did not really disappear. The low-level warrior soon appeared not far away. The Earth Dragon's hoof missed, and felt that its dignity was challenged. It raised its tail again fiercely. Fighting skills. Flash step. The low-level warrior took a quick step and quickly flashed 10 meters away. The low-level warrior paused for a moment and actually quickly left the Earth Dragon's attack range. The low-level warrior felt like he had escaped death. Although he didn't know how powerful the Earth Dragon was, he subconsciously swallowed his saliva and retreated violently when he saw the damaged ground. He didn't even have the slightest intention to fight. The only thought in his mind was to stay away from the Earth Dragon. But before he could retreat far, the Earth Dragon twisted its huge body and caught up with him in an instant. Its tail swept across and slapped the low-level warrior. The man screamed, flew backwards, hit the ground heavily, vomited blood and fell, and was about to die. In this instant, the low-level warrior died. Although these students had experienced adventures, they had never experienced such a battle. Their faces became panicked. After killing one person, the Earth Dragon was no longer in a hurry to attack, but looked at everyone with contempt. No, this Earth Dragon is too strong. We can't kill him with our own strength. The leader of the Imperial Archer Corps frowned and said, the low-level members of the Academy should retreat first, and we will follow. But, the instructor in charge was also a little hesitant at this moment. Don't say buts. You should understand that these students under your command, although their strength is not too bad, lack combat experience. Staying here will only increase casualties. Students of Alkaline Academy, follow my orders and retreat from here. After hearing the words of the instructor in charge, the students quickly ran towards the town they came from. The Earth Dragon was imagining killing and eating all the people in front of him, but he didn't expect that these people would suddenly turn around and flee. He didn't want to watch his food run away. After a pause, he wanted to chase after the students. Earth Dragon, your target is us. The Imperial Archer Army pulled up the bow and arrow in his hand and shot again. Try our rain of arrows. Wind twist. Karen, The team leader shouted loudly. The extremely strong wind element magic in his hand formed in his left hand and cut through the clear sky. The extremely dazzling green vortex flew towards the earth dragon. The earth dragon felt the power of the wind twist and knew to dodge subconsciously. The earth dragon's action surprised Karen, the team leader. This earth dragon was not the kind of mindless one who rushed around. It would be more difficult to deal with it. Did you find out our intention? The wind twist had already landed at the position where the earth dragon was just now. Just as Karen expected, the wind twist did not hit the earth dragon and was dodged by it. Dragon swimming. Karen, the team leader, has also reached a very high level in the mastery of wind magic element. Therefore, based on the original wind magic wind twist, after strengthening and improving it, this second stage magic was created. The wind magic element, which had been silent, suddenly rotated again and rushed towards the earth dragon again in an extremely strange way of moving. The wind twisted the dragon and hit the earth dragon, making a squeak. The area of dozens of meters was completely engulfed by the green wind magic element. The wind magic element was like a steel knife, cutting the earth dragon's body all the time. Even though the earth dragon was covered with scales, it was bleeding under the strangulation of the strong wind magic element. Roar. The strong pain made the earth dragon roar wildly again, and it attacked Karen like a frightened monster. The air trembled, and the powerful airwave spread from the earth dragon as the center. Many Imperial soldiers fell to the ground under the impact of the powerful airwave. Such a violent movement naturally attracted the attention of the students who had not yet evacuated. They turned around and were immediately shocked by the situation in front of them. They vaguely saw that many Imperial soldiers were engulfed by the airwave. Many Imperial soldiers stood up tremblingly, but more Imperial soldiers did not even have the strength to stand up. Yunfan couldn't help but smile bitterly. The luck couldn't be so bad. Didn't they say there was no great danger? How did they encounter such a powerful earth dragon? If the situation continues like this, the instructors won't be able to hold on for long. In general, the Imperial Army is very experienced in combat. Now these Imperial Army soldiers had dispersed and used bows and arrows to attack, trying to buy more time for the students. Roar. The earth dragon roared, completely beyond everyone's expectations. He didn't attack the Imperial soldiers again, but chased in the direction the students left. Everyone, don't leave. This guy seems to have set his sights on us. Only by killing it completely can we be safe. Yunfan took a breath and said to everyone. Karen was also stunned. She never thought that the earth dragon would make such a choice. Chapter 119, an unexpected ending. Intensify the attack, quick. The leader of the Imperial Army also changed his face. The rain of arrows started again, but the earth dragon seemed to be determined to destroy the Academy's team and ignored the arrows shot at it. Facing the attack of the earth dragon, the students who were still hesitating at first had to fight back at this moment. Dark arrow. When the students secretly cried out that it was not good, Yunfan's voice suddenly rang out, and something like lightning suddenly flew out and instantly shot into the earth dragon's eyes. What the earth dragon didn't expect was that the dark arrow released by Yunfan actually had a strong corrosive effect. As the most vulnerable part of the body, it gradually began to melt under the strong corrosive effect. Blind. The earth dragon's eyes were actually blinded by Yunfan. The earth dragon without eyes attacked in panic like a headless fly. Very good, kid. You have done a great deed this time. Karen laughed loudly and then said viciously, now it's time for us to fight back. Everyone increase your output. We must wear this guy to death today. You actually hurt so many of my Imperial soldiers. Even if you are a 5th level monster earth dragon, I will take your fart off to comfort my brothers. The Imperial soldiers have never lacked passion. In an instant, almost everyone present took out their own special skills. Bow skill, continuous arrows, 3 stars in a row. 3 arrows were shot at the earth dragon's forehead. Although it did not cause much damage to the earth dragon, it was also considered to have completely broken the earth dragon's defense. As long as the attack can hit the wound again, it can definitely cause great damage to the earth dragon. However, because of the injury, the earth dragon's mood became more irritable. The earth dragon's huge tail and a huge iron whip shattered all the trees and rocks in front of it. Not good. The iron whip-like huge tail unconsciously smashed down towards Ji Yunfan's position. "Brother Dante, get out of the way," Kim shouted. Ji Yunfan was stunned for a moment, but soon reacted. He didn't expect the Earth Dragon's unconscious attack to come so quickly. Freeze. Seeing that Ji Yunfan was in danger, Amy released her ice magic without caring about anything else. Because of the short time, the ice magic element that Amy gathered were quite limited and only slightly slowed down the Earth Dragon's attack. Facing such a powerful attack, Ji Yunfan could no longer hide his weakness. He quickly circulated the fighting spirit in his body, used the magic wand in his hand to resist, and quickly retreated. Hey, that's the fighting spirit fluctuation. It's impossible. This kid's profession is a magician. I must have thought too much, Karen said in silence. Although Ji Yunfan dodged the Earth Dragon's powerful attack, the powerful destructive power of the Earth Dragon's tail swept up all the gravel where Ji Yunfan was originally standing. The flying rubble made no one dare to look down upon it. One of the larger stones flew in the direction where Ji Yunfan was dodging. If Ji Yunfan had not blocked the magic wand in front of him, the stone would definitely be enough to hit him. However, even so, the magic wand in Ji Yunfan's hand was instantly broken into two. Ji Yunfan's mind moved, and the skeleton warrior appeared directly in front of him. "No one, go." As soon as Ji Yunfan finished speaking, the skeleton warrior stood up with a knife and ran towards the Earth Dragon. "Damage attack," Ji Yunfan ordered. What made many people feel incredible was that the skeleton warrior summoned by Ji Yunfan actually knew how to dodge and swiftly avoided the sweep of the Earth Dragon's giant tail. When the skeleton warrior came in front of the Earth Dragon, almost everyone held their breath. The skeleton warrior raised the alloy bone knife in his hand high and slashed it fiercely on the Earth Dragon's forehead with 3 arrows. What no one expected was that the alloy bone knife actually cut a big hole in the Earth Dragon's forehead like cutting vegetables. However, just when everyone thought it was over, the alloy bone knife actually burst into fighting spirit fluctuations. "This skeleton warriors can actually use fighting spirit!" Exclamation mark. Gods, what a joke. That is the lowest level of the undead. Although it belongs to the category of special magic, few magicians learn and use this magic. It is not because this magic is too difficult, but because this magic is simply garbage. The summoned skeleton warriors are too slow. In addition to being a meat shield, there is no other use. However, the skeleton warriors summoned by Ji Yunfan are beyond everyone's cognition. And the color of fighting spirit is grey, which has never appeared before. Even the well-informed leader of the Imperial Army and the team leader Karen found it incredible. The Earth Dragon directly threw the skeleton warrior out, but the skeleton warrior did not seem to be hurt. He actually rushed towards the Earth Dragon again. "Everyone, now is not the time to watch the show," Ji Yunfan shouted to everyone in a bad mood. The others just woke up from their dreams at this time. Although they had thousands of questions in their hearts, they knew that now was not the time to ask. Wind twist, bind. The team leader Karen changed the strategy of attacking at the beginning and directly used wind magic to bind the Earth Dragon there. He wanted to create an opportunity for Ji Yunfan. At the same time, he also wanted to know what Ji Yunfan's skeleton warriors were capable of. "It seems that I will also create an opportunity for you to do it." The leader of the Imperial Army used bows and arrows intentionally or unintentionally to control the direction of the Earth Dragon's movement. The skeleton warrior ran towards the Earth Dragon without fear and raised the alloy bone knife in his hand high again. He raised and lowered the knife like chopping meat, and the skin and flesh could be seen to burst with each knife. In the eyes of everyone, the Earth Dragon collapsed to the ground. Almost all the students were in disbelief after seeing the twitching Earth Dragon. What on earth is that skeleton warrior? How come it looks even more powerful than a Death Knight? You should know that a Death Knight is a level 5 high level undead, much more powerful than an ordinary level 5 warrior. Although these students have never seen a Death Knight, they feel that the skeleton warriors summoned by Ji Yunfan are more powerful than Death Knights. Returning to the town, the students looked at Ji Yunfan with complicated expressions, jealousy, and envy mixed with a hint of luck. Why is it him again? How can he be so powerful? Steven's face fell into a hideous look again. Chapter 120 Taking Advantage. Dante, you are very powerful, and the skeleton warriors also surprised us. Karen walked in front of Ji Yunfan and patted Ji Yunfan's shoulder heavily. Yes, I thought that the students from your academy were useless. I didn't expect that you not only have a high psychological quality, but also have such strong strength. I'm here to thank you for avenging my soldiers, the leader of the empire said with a smile. In the eyes of the imperial soldiers, the students from the academy have no experience. In fact, although the newly graduated students have a very high status, they are just embroidered pillows in the eyes of all experienced adventurers. Under normal circumstances, if it is not necessary, the students of the academy will not receive such support tasks. After several tasks of eliminating hidden dangers, the students of the academy have gradually grown up. Unlike the beginning, they were so scared that they ran away and even made mistakes in releasing magic. At the same time, no one noticed that in a cave not far from them, a group of mysterious people were discussing fiercely. This is a group of people in black robes. Their faces are completely covered by black robes, revealing only a little forehead and eyes. The black robes are covered with terrible patterns of the undead monarchs. If Ji Yunfan and others were here, they would definitely tell the identities of these people. The Natural Disaster Association. That evil organization that everyone on the continent fears and wants to kill. This time, the plan must be foolproof, and there must not be any mistakes like last time. Please rest assured, Mr. Deacon. Who? The black-robed deacon suddenly changed his face and said loudly. The black-robed people looked out together, and finally fell on a figure outside the cave. A slight flash of surprise flashed across their eyes. A boy who seemed to know nothing. The boy seemed to be looking around without knowing what he was doing. So how did such a kid get here? Seeing the black-robed man's dress, a cold light flashed in the boy's eyes. The boy seemed to know the identity of these black-robed people. This kid is definitely problematic. Ordinary people can't walk here. Catch him. The leading black-robed deacon shouted. The two men of the black-robed deacon quickly surrounded the boy. Seeing this scene, the boy was not panicked. A mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and then he turned and left. Chase, we must catch up with that kid. The young man was Ji Yunfan. He left the team and prepared to relieve himself, but he happened to find the cave. These people from the Scourge Church are still too strong. If we lead them to the mentor, I'm afraid we may not be able to deal with them. In this case, I can only use some small tricks first. Ji Yunfan thought while escaping. Ji Yunfan suddenly turned around and changed the direction of his running towards the deeper part of the forest. Although the people from the Scourge Church were a little surprised that Ji Yunfan changed his escape route, they didn't think much about it and followed him closely. After running for about half an hour, Ji Yunfan took out the magic wand from his space ring and cast a magic at the place that looked like a canyon. Is this kid stupid? He kept running away at the beginning, but now he has taken out the magic wand and doesn't attack us. Does this kid really have some conspiracy? Just when the people from the Scourge Church were puzzled, a deep roar woke them up. The ground shook violently, and a huge 4th level magic beast, the Kangbi giant tiger, rushed out of the valley and immediately roared towards Ji Yunfan. Before these people could react, Ji Yunfan immediately ran wildly and rushed towards the Church of the Calamity. Seeing this giant Kangbi giant tiger rushing up, all the people of the Church of the Calamity changed color, and they all took out their weapons, ready to resist the impact of the Kangbi giant tiger. Damn, this bastard boy actually wants to use the magic beast Kangbi giant tiger to destroy us. The Kangbi giant tiger found these people from the Calamity Association and thought they were in the same group with Ji Yunfan. It immediately became furious and roared, leaped up and pounced on Ji Yunfan fiercely. The momentum was simply terrifying. Seeing that the Kangbi giant tiger was about to pounce on Ji Yunfan quickly circulated the fighting spirit in his body and ran to the side. The claws of the giant blue-armed tiger almost brushed against Ji Yunfan's cheek, and the whistling energy made Ji Yunfan's cheek hurt. Oh my god, I almost got disfigured. Fortunately, Ji Yunfan's reaction was quick enough. Although he didn't touch him, he was still alive. If he was a little slower, his head would have been smashed to pieces. Ji Yunfan was lucky, but the people of the Scourge Church were not so lucky, because when they were clearing the hidden dangers in advance, Ji Yunfan came here with the team leader Karen, and found this powerful giant blue-armed tiger. The giant blue-armed tiger was too powerful. The team leader Karen and the leader of the Imperial Army felt that they were not sure to get rid of this terrifying monster, and this monster did not participate in the siege, so they decided to let it go for the time being and wait for strong support to arrive before dealing with the giant blue-armed tiger. The appearance of the giant blue-armed tiger was so abrupt that the people of the Scourge Association did not react. The giant blue-armed tiger had already entered the group of people from the Scourge Church like a sheep in a tiger's mouth. One of the black-robed mages was the first to be hit and was knocked to the ground. "Kill it," the deacon of the Scourge Church shouted coldly, and then his men launched attacks one by one, and the magic fighting spirit burst out. A fierce battle. Seeing the giant blue-armed tiger fighting with the people from the Scourge Church, Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. "Big cat, you must be more powerful. You must hold them back for me. I'll go first." Because of the crazy escape for more than an hour, Yunfan had suffered a lot of injuries. If the giant blue-armed tiger was farther away, his physical strength might not be able to support him to lure out the giant blue-armed tiger. Yunfan ignored the injuries on his body, jumped away, and ran wildly in another direction. This giant blue-armed tiger was very powerful. The people of the Calamity Church could not get rid of it in a short time. In addition, the giant blue-armed tiger had already engaged them in close combat, and could only watch Yunfan escape. The deacon of the Calamity Church had an ugly face. He never thought that the students of the Deacon Academy of his Calamity Church could play with him. This made him ashamed to face others. Hurry up and get rid of the giant blue-armed tiger, and then catch that bastard. Otherwise, if he leaks our secret, the bishop will definitely not let us off easily. Chapter 121 Encounter. After waiting for Yunfan for a long time, the Academy Army and the Imperial Army began to look for Yunfan. Why are there traces of fighting here? Did Dante encounter some trouble? From the traces of fighting, he must have encountered a powerful monster. According to the current situation, Dante should have escaped. Forget it, the situation is special now, and we don't have much time to look for Dante. Although Yunfan got rid of the pursuit of the Church of the Scourge with the help of the Kangbi giant tiger, Yunfan got lost. After walking for an unknown period of time, Yunfan suddenly felt a wave of magic not far ahead. Could it be a student of the academy? Yunfan muttered to himself, and walked towards the direction of the magic wave. "CV, where else can you escape to?" A deep voice suddenly came from a distance, followed by a flash of black light. Not far away, a middle-aged man in his 40s and a thin old man in his 60s or 70s were facing each other. The old man in his 60s or 70s had a hypocritical smile on his face. He was wearing a dark golden magic robe and holding a magic wand inlaid with deep sapphires in his left hand. "Teacher Oliver, I hope you won't make the same mistake again. Do you know how many people in the Empire will be killed by doing this?" The middle-aged man asked with a sad and angry face. "Are you really willing to degenerate and cooperate with the people of the Church of the Scourge? Aren't you afraid that the gods will punish you? Savvy, hand over the blood-stained potion, and I can forgive you once, and let you continue to be my student." The old man still had a hypocritical smile on his face. "This is impossible. Do you really want me to kill you? You should know what kind of person I am. Teacher Oliver, you are now obsessed. If you continue, you will destroy the entire empire. What does it matter if the entire empire is destroyed? As long as I can become a god forever, I will not hesitate, even if it means destroying the world," the old man said with a fanatical face. "Teacher Oliver, you are a madman. I will definitely stop you," the middle-aged man said as he raised the long sword in his hand. "Hey, is this a wind mage?" Sakadin's voice suddenly sounded. A ball of grey light bloomed on the middle-aged man's body, and a swordsman wearing the uniform of the Scourge Church suddenly appeared in front of the middle-aged man, and knocked the middle-aged man to the ground with one blow. "Mr. Oliver, what should we do with CV?" The swordsman then stood respectfully beside the old mage and asked humbly. The hypocritical old wizard Oliver frowned his sparse eyebrows, looked at CV who was lying on the ground with blood, foam still flowing from the corners of his mouth, and sighed and said, "Poor CV, I'm afraid he's almost dead. It was good for him to follow me, and if I succeed, I will also grant him eternal life. I didn't expect him to be so ignorant. He shouldn't continue to endure this kind of pain. Philip, please help him. Mr. Oliver is so kind." The swordsman named Philip from the Scourge Church exclaimed with a strange expression. He always thought that the Scourge Church was bad enough, but he didn't expect that the kind-looking old man in front of him was absolutely cruel and ruthless. For his own benefit, he could sacrifice his favorite student, and he seemed to be standing on the moral high ground. Yunfan only saw a ball of grey light flashing in the void, and Siva's chest was splashed with blood, and he fell to the ground motionless. Philip, the swordsman of the Scourge Church, put away his sword, and immediately squatted down to rummage around on Siva's body. However, as time went by, his face gradually became ugly. Finally, he stood up and said to the old man helplessly, "Mr. Oliver, the thing is not on him. How is it possible? Where is the potion?" The old man showed an incredible expression on his face. He shook the magic wand in his hand, and the body of the middle-aged man suddenly flew in front of the old man. Oliver recited a corrosion magic spell, and melted all the clothes on Siva's body. Yunfan hid behind the tree. He didn't even dare to breathe too hard. There was no way. The physical consumption was too serious. If he was discovered by these two people, the chance of escaping would be almost zero. Yunfan saw everything clearly. The warrior of the Scourge Church just now suddenly flew out, and the long sword burst into a dark grey light. It was obviously a 5th level great swordsman. Such a 5th level great swordsman respected Mr. Oliver so much, indicating that Mr. Oliver's identity or strength was even more powerful. And at this moment, he was like a lamb to be slaughtered, with almost no ability to resist. God bless hallelujah. God bless hallelujah. What the hell is this? Sakadin couldn't help asking curiously, is it the name of a god? Yunfan was naturally in no mood to explain to Sakadin at this moment. It's really not on him. Where did CV hide the potion? No, we must find the potion quickly, otherwise it will delay my big business. Oliver frowned and talked to himself, then shook the magic wand in his hand, and CV was thrown to the ground. Mr. Oliver, maybe CV didn't take the potion away. Let's go find the potion quickly, otherwise it will not only delay your business, but also affect the arrangements of the Lord Bishop. Philip bowed and said, "You are right." The old guy named Oliver nodded, and left with Philip, the swordsman of the Church of the Scourge. I didn't expect my luck to be so bad today. Fortunately, the two of them have been paying attention to the potion. Otherwise, it shouldn't be a problem for them to find me. Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief and thought to himself. But from the conversation between the three of them, what is the potion machine they are talking about? Becoming a god and living forever? What are they planning? Yunfan felt his head exploded. Yunfan. What? The guy named CV seemed to have left something over there when he ran away just now. Sakadin suddenly said. What? Yunfan was surprised by Sakadin's words. I mean that the little guy threw a space ring there. You actually saw him throw away the space ring. Where is it? Yunfan was very curious about what was in the space ring thrown away by CV. Under Sakadin's guidance, Yunfan quickly found the space ring. Yunfan picked up the space ring and found that there was a magic seal on it. Chapter 122 The Strange Key. This magic seal is not complicated. This magic seal is indeed not complicated. It is only used to isolate the magician's perception. In fact, it does not have much effect. With your current mental power, you can completely break through it. In this case, I will see what is inside. Destroy it. Yunfan's mental power burst out, and in an instant, the magic seal on the space ring was lifted. There are not many things in the space ring, only 4 or 5 bottles of potions and a black box. Yunfan hesitated for a moment, but still took out one of the bottles of potions, opened the mouth of the bottle, and smelled it. A choking fishy smell was directly transmitted to his brain through his nose. It stinks. What kind of potion is in it? It's so mysterious. Yunfan couldn't help but mutter to himself, forget it, ignore these, and talk about it later. It's better to run away now. If those two masters come again, it will be troublesome. Yunfan didn't dare to stay here any longer, and turned around and left. Although he could no longer remember the exact route back, Yunfan still relied on his keen intuition to quickly get back to the town. Dante, it's great that you're okay. The members of Yunfan's mercenary team were very happy to see Yunfan return. Where are Teacher Karen and the others? Yunfan nodded to everyone and then asked. Teacher Karen and the leader of the Imperial Army received a mission from the Empire to investigate the cause of the beast tide. It should take some time for them to come back, Amy explained. Will it take some time to come back? That's really troublesome. Yunfan frowned slightly. Do you have anything to do with Teacher Karen and the others? Princess Avril asked curiously. I encountered people from the Scourge Church in the jungle. They seemed to be brewing some conspiracy in a sneaky way. I think this beast tide may be related to them. Yunfan sighed and said. The Scourge Church, this matter is actually related to them? This matter must be notified to the Holy See immediately. Amelia had just finished treating the wounded in the town and happened to hear Yunfan's words. An hour later, Karen and the leader of the Imperial Army came back. Seeing Yunfan had returned safely, they breathed a sigh of relief. I knew you would be alright. Karen patted Yunfan on the shoulder and said, by the way, who did you meet? He seems to be quite powerful. I was hunted by the people of the Scourge Church. Yunfan shook his head and smiled bitterly. He felt that he was still too confident and looked at his own strength. If he hadn't been luckier this time, he might not have been able to come back. I actually met someone from the Scourge Church here. Could it be that the beast tide is related to them? The people of the Scourge Church have become more and more restless recently. What are they trying to do this time? Karen frowned and said to herself. Teacher Karen, I wonder if you have heard of Oliver? Oliver, why are you asking about this guy? After hearing this name, many people's faces became very ugly, as if this name touched some taboos. Teacher, you really know. Yunfan was getting more and more curious about Oliver's identity, so he told him everything he heard, but he did hide the matter of the space ring. Damn, I didn't expect this matter was actually related to that guy. Teacher Karen, who is Oliver? Oliver was a mentor in our college a long time ago. Teacher? He is not just a mentor, but also the vice president of Alkaline College. Oliver has always been a good guy, but that was all just his hiding, until one day someone discovered his true face. The so-called beast in human form is no less than him. He actually used living people to do undead experiments, and he transformed living people into monsters that were neither human nor undead. Later, Oliver defected. His name became a taboo in the college. Isn't this the alien version of mad scientist? For his own scientific research, or should I say magic research, he has become possessed by the devil. No, this matter is too complicated and has completely gone beyond my control. We must report this group to the top management of the academy and the empire immediately. After Karen and others left. Second, didn't you say that you have made great achievements in alchemy potions? Tell me what these potions are. Yunfan, this alchemy potion in your hand is incredible. If I'm not mistaken, the source of the so-called beast tide is in your hand. Is this thing so magical? Yunfan was shocked. This potion can make Warcraft evolve. So powerful? Yunfan was shocked by Sakadan's words. But the evolution of Warcraft is not without side effects. There is a 90% chance that Warcraft will go crazy while evolving. Oh my god. Forget it. Anyway, I can't use this thing now. Just leave it. Maybe it will have unexpected effects. Yunfan said, while carefully covering the potion and putting it back into the space ring. Then he took out the wooden box he got together, opened it gently, and saw a key of unknown material inside the box. Yunfan frowned. When he thought of Oliver's identity, he felt that this thing was definitely a priceless item. Thinking of this, Yunfan couldn't help but focus his attention on the key of unknown material. Under the sunlight, the key shone with a faint light that was difficult to detect without careful observation. The hazy halo was very faint, and it was really hard to find if you didn't look closely. Just when Yunfan was silently watching the key, when his mental power just touched the key, a cold breath suddenly came from his mind. This breath followed Yunfan's mental power and seemed to enter Yunfan's mind. Yunfan couldn't help shivering. At this moment, the world tree in his mind immediately trembled, absorbing the cold breath without a trace. This thing is a bit weird. Yunfan came back to his senses and took a deep breath to calm himself. He looked at the key in his hand with some hesitation and put it back into the box. Second, what do you think this is? Although Yunfan received a divine thought from the god, his memory was not complete. This should be the key to open a certain god's ancient tomb. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123, Fountain of the Gods. Today's day of running around was too tiring. Yunfan did not study the potion and key anymore. He put all these things into the space ring, then asked Amelia to help him deal with his injuries, and then fell asleep in the hotel room. Because of the high consumption, it takes a certain amount of time to repair. Yunfan's task has also been changed from the original clearing task to the staying task. After breakfast, Yunfan's mind was full of thoughts about the key, and his brows were slightly frowned, and he was very absorbed. A fat figure suddenly rushed from the door and came to Yunfan. The fat man was panting and said hurriedly, "Dante, the senior management of the college and the empire have sent people. The instructors are waiting for you to go over." Yunfan was a little unhappy when his thinking was interrupted, but seeing the fat man's panic, he knew that this matter was not the fat man's fault. "Okay, I'll go over right away." Yunfan stood up and walked out the door. Seeing Yunfan coming, the two so-called high-level people exuded their own aura of masters and pressed towards Yunfan. That aura was unattainable in the eyes of others, but it was insignificant to Yunfan, who had received a memory from the gods. "You are Dante, right? It is true that heroes come from young age." Seeing that their aura seemed unable to suppress Yunfan, the visitors were amazed. Although they knew that the boy in front of them was not simple, they did not expect that they could ignore their aura. "Don't you know what the two adults want me to do?" Yunfan bowed slightly and said in a flat tone. "Good boy." No wonder His Majesty looked at me differently. I was not as strong as you at your age. Yunfan, the strength of these two little guys is not simple. One is a 6th level great swordsman and the other is a 6th level wind mage. Sakadan's voice sounded. "It doesn't matter. Although these two people are very strong, they don't have any bad intentions towards me. Because of the existence of the world tree, Yunfan's perception of murderous aura has reached an incredible level." The two smiled kindly at Yunfan, and the one dressed as a magician introduced himself to Yunfan. "I'm Spring Hall, the senior instructor of Alkaline College, and he is Edmund, the deputy commander of the Imperial Army. I think you should know the purpose of our visit today. As the saying goes, you should not hit a smiling person." Yunfan nodded to the two, and then repeated what he had said to Karen and the others. "CV, I didn't expect him to die in the hands of Oliver. Are the gods really joking? My lords." At this time, a man dressed as an Imperial Army soldier suddenly walked into the room. "What's the matter?" Edmund asked. "The Knights of Light of the Holy See are here." "Why are they here? Does the Holy See know something?" Spring Hall and Edmund looked at each other. "Since they are here, let them in," Edmund said. "I didn't expect that this time I would actually alarm the deputy leader of the Knights of Light, Lord Cromwell. No, I didn't expect to meet you two here. I don't know what kind of news you have received. Can't you share it with me?" Although Cromwell, the deputy leader of the Knights of Light, said this, his eyes were always on Yunfan. Cromwell clawed at Yunfan, and a strong wave of fighting spirit quickly surged towards Yunfan. Yunfan's body was involuntarily carried away and flew towards Cromwell. Then Yunfan felt a vague mental power spying on him, but Yunfan pretended to know nothing. Spring Hall and Edmund repeated what Yunfan had said to them. "It's such a coincidence that you met me. I really don't know whether it's good luck or bad luck." Cromwell, the deputy leader of the Knights of Light, looked at Yunfan and suddenly asked seemingly unintentionally, "You should be a dark magician, right?" "Yes, my major is indeed the dark system," Yunfan said calmly. "Alas, what a pity. If you were a magician of the light department, I could recommend you to join the light army." "Thank you for your kindness, sir." Yunfan thanked him. "In fact, I'm very happy to be able to become a magician." "A bunch of hypocritical guys," Spring Hall and Edmund muttered in their hearts. "I wonder if you have heard of the Fountain of Gods?" Cromwell, the deputy leader of the Knights of Light, turned his head and said to Spring Hall and Edmund, "The Fountain of Gods? Springhall and Edmund looked at each other, both a little puzzled. According to the oracle passed down by the god of light, a god did fall in the horrible forest, and where he fell, a sacred spring was formed. The spring water in the sacred spring has the power of God. If you can use the divine power in the sacred spring to transform your body, you can form a demigod body. Cromwell had a weird smile on his face. What? This? Springhall and Edmund's hearts were filled with huge waves. The people of the Church of the Scourge should have set their sights on the fountain of the gods. But why did they create this beast tide? Springhall and Edmund asked in confusion. Although Yunfan also had doubts in his heart, he was sensible and did not ask. Sacrifice. Yunfan couldn't help but think of everything that happened in the Oraba forest. Father. No, master, why did you tell them such important news? A young man dressed as a Knight of Light walked out of the room and asked Cromwell, the deputy leader of the Knights of Light, in confusion. Odysseus, according to the current situation, what do you think I should do? You are still too simplistic. On the other side, Springhall, how much truth is there in what that guy said? No matter how much truth there is, that guy definitely has bad intentions. What can we do if we know he has bad intentions? Can you resist the temptation of the fountain of the gods? Our talents are not that high. We are already thankful to the gods for our current strength. It is almost impossible to continue to break through, but the appearance of the fountain of the gods has given us hope. Even if there is only a possibility that the fountain of the gods will appear, we will not give up. Edmund took a deep breath and his eyes were more determined than ever. Yes, even if we know it is a trap, we will jump in without hesitation. We really don't have much time. Springhall also said faintly. Chapter 124 Separation and Gathering. I didn't expect the fountain of gods to appear here. Sakhardan said in Yunfan's heart. Although Yunfan had some information about the fountain of gods in his mind, the information was not comprehensive. Is the fountain of gods really so magical? What that guy said is true, but if you use the fountain of gods to strengthen your body, ordinary people can't bear it at all. You know, divine power is the privilege of gods. So, isn't the fountain of gods useless? No, as long as they use some means. I think the people of the church can make a weakened version of the fountain of gods. The secret method of making a weakened version of the fountain of gods is not a secret in the continent of gods. Even I have at least 2 formulas in my hands. Since this thing is so useful, I have to fight for it anyway. Yunfan secretly made up his mind. The Kuska continent is divided into 9 regions, each controlled by an empire, and the empires are either united or opposed to each other, which is also the reason why the Kuska continent has always maintained the situation of 9 regions. In addition to the 9 empires, there are many powerful forces in the Kuska continent that cannot be ignored. However, compared with the 9 empires that are fighting each other, the church is superior. The temple of nature has always been neutral. They have no ambition to compete for territory, but just stick to one corner and absorb the Nadru and the elves. The secret of the fountain of the gods is not spread. Many forces on the continent have received this message. Whether this message is true or false, it has attracted the attention of the forces on the continent, who spread the information about the fountain of the gods. Springhall and Edmund's faces became extremely ugly. Who wants to mess up the situation on the continent? Although they knew that there was a big problem here, many people from many forces still drilled in without hesitation. A cave. Sir, I still don't quite understand why you want to spread the news of the God's Spring. Isn't this giving us competitors? You imagine the God's Spring to be too simple. If we rely on ourselves alone, we will definitely suffer heavy losses. Besides, not everyone can use the God's Spring. Masters gathered at once. Deep in the unknown underground, there is a large 5-colored altar. In the center of the altar is a huge sarcophagus. Judging from the huge size of the sarcophagus, the owner of the sarcophagus must not be human. The sarcophagus is bound by a long iron chain, and the mystery is permeated. Both the sarcophagus and the iron chain are engraved with extremely mysterious ancient characters. The characters used on the continent now are much more primitive. They are mysterious symbols that are almost like heavenly books and pictures, ancient divine patterns. Under the large 5-colored sarcophagus, there is actually a small golden river, which makes people extremely suspicious. Although some violent monsters occasionally appear, most of the monsters have been eliminated, and the crisis of the beast tide has been temporarily resolved. The students who were originally sent here have completed their respective tasks, and can choose to return to the academy. Yunfan also received a corresponding reward for completing the task excellently. He was named a baron, and can receive it, as long as he goes to the Imperial City. Although they can return to the academy, not many students choose to leave. The mysterious spring of the gods makes everyone excited, and naturally these little brats in the academy are no exception. Now many people have entered the Flow Mountains. Let's go quickly, otherwise it will be bad if others find the spring of the gods first. Avril urged the mercenary team. Although everyone was very excited, they had not lost their minds. Amy smiled bitterly and said, "My princess, do you think we can get any benefit in the Flow Mountains with our strength?" Ivy's face changed slightly when she heard this. After these adventures, she felt that her strength was insufficient, but she was unwilling to give up like this. "We will just go and take a look. If we really encounter any danger, we will leave. Princess, I just received an order from His Majesty to leave here with us immediately." At this time, a voice suddenly sounded, and everyone looked in the direction of the voice. A middle-aged man dressed as a warrior walked towards them from a distance. "Uncle Henry, why are you here?" Avril's expression changed. "His Majesty is afraid that something might happen to you outside, so he sent me to take you back." But, before Princess Avril could finish her words, Henry interrupted her directly. "There is no but. His Majesty has already said that, even if it means tying you up, you must take your highness back. How could my damn father give such an order? Uncle Henry, you must be lying to me, right?" Avril shook Henry's arm and said like a spoiled child, "Your Highness, I didn't lie to you, because the matter of the Fountain of the Gods is so involved that even some saint-level strongmen have been alarmed." Henry said with a slightly bitter smile, "Uncle Henry, you love me the most. You will definitely help me, right?" Princess Avril looked at Henry with hope. "You must come back with me this time, no discussion." Henry waved his hand, and the men who followed him had already surrounded Princess Avril. "You are so bold. Do you know who I am? Be careful or my father will kill you. Get out of the way," Princess Avril said viciously to the people surrounding her. "Princess, please don't embarrass us. If we really let you leave, His Majesty will definitely kill us," a guy dressed as an imperial soldier said with an embarrassed look. "You, humph." In the end, Princess Avril had no choice but to compromise and left with Henry. Not long after, all the members of the commission team, except Yunfan and Amy, were taken away by their respective families. Seeing that Yunfan and Amy had no intention of leaving, Spring Hall said, "Aren't you two going to leave? In that case, just follow us." Yunfan thought for a moment and felt that going with Spring Hall was indeed the best option at the moment, so he agreed. "Thank you, Instructor Spring Hall. You are all students of our academy, so I will naturally take care of you." Spring Hall waved his hand and smiled faintly, "But I need to remind you that, although your strength is not the worst here, it is not strong either, so be more careful." "Don't worry, Instructor Spring Hall, we will protect ourselves." Spring Hall nodded slightly and walked towards Edmund. Chapter 125 Mysterious Boy. The exploration officially began, and more experts joined in. The monsters that had not been cleared were quickly cleared. So many experts have come. Yunfan felt that many of them had the strength to kill him in seconds. Yunfan secretly clenched his fists, thinking that his strength was still too weak. The secret base of the Church of the Scourge. A man in black robe snorted coldly. "Some guys who are not good enough to do things, but are more likely to cause trouble. What do your subordinates do? It was like this 10 years ago, and it is still like this 20 years later. If it weren't for the goddess thing being messed up by you, how could our Church of the Scourge be so passive?" Another man in black robe also smiled coldly. "Becky, it's as if you had done something good. The materials and help we have provided you for 10 years are enough to support the needs of a small country, but he can't make any substantial progress." Another man in black robe on the side said with mud. "Becky is already the best alchemist in our Church of the Scourge. Mitchell doesn't need to be so angry. Long before the demon started to develop, he said that it might consume a lot. In fact, it has already consumed a lot. but the man in black robe touched his nose and whispered the latter words. Mitchell glared at him, but Becky pretended not to see it. He handed a list to the black-robed man, who was trying to smooth things over. These are the materials that Oliver wants. The potion is lost, and he needs to reconfigure it. What a hassle. The black-robed man took the list casually, but when he saw the materials on the list, his face turned extremely ugly. He actually wants so many precious materials, and this. He even wants blood of a wild python. This guy. Even our Scourge Church doesn't have much stock left. Seeing Becca's unfriendly eyes, the black-robed man Bunyan finally reacted and gritted his teeth and said, "No problem, as long as we can complete the task assigned to us by the Pope, no matter how much consumption there is, it is not a problem." Becky nodded and replied expressionlessly, "If this succeeds, then our Scourge Church will definitely stand at the top of the continent again." Mitchell looked at Becky with a complicated look, but in the end he didn't say anything else. In the past few days, Springhall and Edmund led more than 100 men to leave the town and head towards the adjacent ruins. The ruins are located inside the Oraba forest. Because there are many powerful monsters living there, few adventurers go there. It can be said that it is a rare taboo place for humans. If it were not for the Spring of the Gods, I'm afraid that people from various forces would not come this time. The closer you get to the ruins, the more magical and strange plants rise to the sky, and the scene of a primitive forest. From a distance, you can hear the deafening roar of monsters, and there is a faint smell of blood in the air. You can also see strange and ferocious flying monsters circling in the sky. Some monsters are hundreds of meters long and huge. I remind you again, be careful, never underestimate others, because it is related to your life and death. Springhall and Edmund told their subordinates a lot of things that need to be paid attention to. In the past, some adventurers often went deep into the ruins to collect rare medicinal materials regardless of danger. The deeper they went, the more terrible the magic beasts were. They might even encounter holy level magic beasts, which even human holy level strongmen could not deal with. So, don't be reckless. After trekking through mountains and rivers, everyone finally came to the edge of the ruins. The magic element here are much denser than other places. As soon as they got here, someone found a lot of high-level alchemical materials. The trees here are extremely tall, and several people can't hug them together. The roots of the old trees are as thick as thighs. Lion tiger beast. As soon as they entered the ruins, someone screamed and found a giant 4th level fire type magic beast lion tiger beast. Roar. The guy with golden hair suddenly opened his bloody mouth and swallowed the screaming guy on the spot, and a shrill scream was heard immediately. Almost everyone was terrified and quickly pulled back. They saw that the lion tiger beast was biting without scruples. The creaking sound was chilling. Soon, a snow-white skeleton was left on the ground, and there was a lot of red liquid. The surrounding grass and trees withered under the high temperature emitted by the lion tiger beast. Several masters quickly came to the front and frowned, saying, "This lion tiger beast seems to be in a bad condition. It seems to have no consciousness." At this time, Springhall also came over and said to Yunfan and others, "This lion tiger beast is the product of the intercourse between the fire lion and the wind tiger. The wind helps the fire to be very strong. Don't be contaminated by the flames it spews, otherwise." After Springhall finished speaking, he reminded again, saying, "But this guy can be said to be a treasure. His whole body is a good material for alchemy. Just when I came to the edge of the ruins, I saw such a monster. I really don't know what kind of terrible monsters there will be." A strong adventurer died on the spot. Everyone was a little panicked and became careful one by one. "I'll kill this magic beast." A young man in his 20s walked out from the crowd of adventurers in the distance and pressed forward. A blue light flashed from the long sword in his hand, which quickly spread to his long sword. With a kai sound, he slashed the lion tiger beast and killed it instantly. "Hiss, this boy is so powerful." Many adventurers couldn't help but exclaim. The lion tiger beast is a 4th level magic beast, and the boy is at least above the 4th level or even the 5th level. Who is this boy? The boy carefully disassembled the body of the lion tiger beast and put it into his space ring in the eyes of everyone's amazement. "Edmund, did you see the identity of the boy?" "Blue Dalkey, I didn't expect his successor to be here too." Several people who recognized the boy's identity frowned. At this time, other adventurers also took action. Soon, some people killed the third level monsters or dug up a lot of alchemical materials. Although it was much less than what the young man got, it was still a full load. These ordinary adventurers still knew their own limitations. They knew that the fountain of the gods was not something they could get, so they set their sights on these alchemical materials. You know, the ruins land is a place that they would not dare to come to even if they had the courage. Now it was just the right time to take advantage of the autumn wind of those big men. Suddenly, an extremely manic roar came from the depths of the ruins land, like a thunderous sound piercing the sky, which shocked people's hearts and minds. At this moment, everyone was shocked and stopped, looking in the direction of the sound, only to see a fiery red lightning running past quickly and coming towards everyone quickly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.